Ponytail or no ponytail? No ponytail. That's right. Full on headbanger's ball hair today. It's good. And the funny thing is all I did was like wet it. You ever have one of those hair days where you're like, son of a bitch, that's what I've been shooting for. And then it happens. And then you're like, how do I recreate that every day now? This is going to be work. It happens magically. And then you're like, that's never going to happen again. So enjoy it while it lasts. I've got Ace Frehley circa 1978 hair right now, and I'm feeling it. Yeah. It's a little longer than his, but my neck is shorter. I don't know. Something it'll work out, I think. Stick my finger in a plug. It won't work. That'll just poof it more. It's got to have kind of a drape, but you got to have, it's that thin line between like late 80s hair metal, like, Eric Brittingham, when you start to look like the bass player for Cinderella, you may have gone too far with it, where you look like a show dog, but you also don't want to go to like mid-70s, just dirty human. You know what I mean? So you want to be kind of in the middle. You want to look like he could play in a rock band, or he could also be an elf. I think for most guys, it's like somewhere between Viking and fill-in bass player for Black Label Society. I think, which by the way, Eric Brittingham, I think, went to play with them at one point, which I think is funny. Anyways, hi. Thanks for, Tony, thank you so much right out of the gate for doing that. And hold on, why is my other chat door not open? What's happening? Open this up. There you are. And then make sure this is up and running, and it is. Okay, good. And then I'm just checking my stuff, and there's so much craziness going on today. I have no doubt it's going to be a wild and wacky show today. Depending on how much time we have, I'm going to have to blaze through this. I just know it, because the Glenn Beck interview with Trump is long, but I don't know how much of it is actually Trump. So we'll find out. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of these folks that do like a special. I got a special interview with Donald Trump, and it's really just like 17 or 16 minutes of actual interview, and the rest of it is them interrupting right about the time he's talking himself into a corner, and they're like, we'll be right back after we try to make sense of whatever the fuck he was talking about, that kind of thing. So settle in, like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show in any way you see fit, or don't sit there and glower at me. Just brr, son of a bitch. How does he get more handsome every day? It just drives me crazy. Just, just sit there and grind on it. And I'm happy to have our regulars here, and thank you for the trolls that have found their way to us. You're unwelcome here, but that's why we want you here, so you can feel it. Also, I'm kidding. It's relax. And you guys are so fucking uptight. I mean, I thought we were the snowflakes. You guys get so wound up. Trolls, why are you so angry right out of the gate? Oh, right. I forgot. Your dude's a loser, and he got called out as a loser yesterday for fucking 48 hours straight. The day leading up and I guess into today. So you're going to be riding out the weekend. Yeah. So how are we the same age? I don't know. I have a picture in my attic growing old. Yeah. So group out to everybody. Yeah, even if you hate me, I'm your friend. Dead serious. Again, what's my bona fides in this? I performed for all kinds of crowds and made everybody laugh, and I don't begrudge a laugh out of any human being. And I've done CPR on 3 people, and I did not ask them what their party affiliation was before I started compressions in mouth to mouth. So back the fuck up. If you want to be angry at the world, there's plenty of other shows. I'm glad you're here, though. Stay here. I know, I heard that today, TF. Roseanne's friend Cirsten W is dead. Holy shit. That was genuinely shocking when I found that out. Did you guys remember? We did a couple, like, way early on in COVID when the crazy was winding up. This woman, Cirsten W, who was kind of Roseanne's, like, QAnon guru, right? Remember her? Yeah. She was straight up all that stuff. She was selling like skin cream and doing QAnon shit and was all in on this. She's fucking dead. She died of COVID. Like, it's not surprise. I mean, I'm not shocked that she didn't get vaccinated and that she took no precautions. All it's fucking sad. And we don't, again, you want to go wish somebody ill, go do it someplace else. My mom's a nurse, and she in her life has seen plenty of people. I've seen enough people where they had deathbed regret. You ever met somebody who's this close to dying and it's slipping away from him and they got nothing left in the world and they're like, "Oh God, what did I do?" That's humanity. And so that's why I don't joke and wish people fucking die of COVID and all that kind of shit, because once you've seen that, you don't wish that on anyone. Anyone. And like, what a fucking waste. I'm not surprised either, but like, Jesus. Not surprised at all. Thanks, Francie. Don't forget, you can support using super chats, or you can use stickers or any of that fun stuff, or on Facebook, you can do stars. If you're a real person, I recognize that about 60% of the people on Facebook in general are, all one poor Russian dude living in, Macedonia running 5 computers. I'm sorry. If I wish I could speak better Russian so that, I could tell you, I look forward to the day when you have a real fucking job. But, thanks for tuning in, comrade, you bastard. So yeah, Kirsten, let's see. I'll show you guys Cirsten W. Yeah, there it is. Images. Her. Remember her? She's the woman. She was like, she's all in on the QAnon shit. Remember her? Wait, hold on. Oh, I'm not even showing you my screen yet. There. Remember this one? Holy shit. There she is, man, on a fucking ventilator. That's, why do you have to do that to yourself, you Q bastards? Again, this is why I don't. By the time these assholes wake up to the fact that they're a mess, they're fucking dead. And like the sorrow of somebody clawing their way back from under an avalanche of bullshit. Ugh. I mean, she was. Everything she said about Democrats and Hillary and the fucking adrenochrome baby milkshake stuff. Like, she's a horrible person, accusing people of terrible things willy nilly. Just like, yeah, I'll call somebody that. I'll accuse them of that sight unseen. I know it's true. I have somebody in the CIA that tells me all this awful stuff. And then, I mean, she's awful, but she was like one of the charming dum-dums in all this. Remember that? Oh, thank you, Deirdre. Yeah, it's one thing. I understand you don't feel sorry for them. I just don't wish it on anybody. It's more of a shocking referential thing when it actually happens. But to any Q moron or maggot that's out there that's hate watching my show, and I know you're out there, I can hear you wheezing. If you're not going to get vaccinated, for fuck's sake, like, stay away from everyone until it's nothing but, Omicron minus death. Until Delta's complete. Just lock yourself in your fucking bunker. This is the time. I know you think you thought it was going to be a zombie apocalypse or a fucking asteroid or a nuclear war. This is the time to hide in your bunker and eat your fucking Jim Baker pancake powder by the spoonful until the storm passes. Until your radiation Geiger counter says no more COVID. Stay the fuck in there. If you're not going to do it, I don't like you. I think you're an idiot. I wouldn't want to share a fucking bus with you, but I don't want you to die. Jesus. Somebody told me that this morning, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah, just hide and eat your fucking beans. Go to your little Michigan, militia bunker and go, hey, everybody, I'm just going to be inside for a while. How long? About 19 months. Yeah, eat all that fucking ramen you hoarded. Use your urine to make water. It's fine. Like, don't. Oh, God. It's so unnecessary. Good God. I'm in the mental health field and I come here for self-care. Hey, I'm doing my part, and I think I do a damn fine job. All right, here we go. Yes, there's a lot of stuff today. First of all, I've been avoiding this all day, and we got to look at it. This is Tucker Carlson is very upset. You can tell he's upset because very seldom does he stop furrowing his brow for anyone. And apparently, Capitol Hill riot, a grotesquely disproportionate response by Dems. Let's just remember, a gallows was built on the fucking Capitol grounds. People died. A woman was shot because she was trying to break in with a group of people into an area where they were evacuating Congress because an entire mob of people was yelling, "Hang Mike Pence." People were live streaming that they were going to shoot Nancy Pelosi in the frickin' brain. But it's an overreaction. Guys, what's the difference? Why can't they tell the difference between a bunch of people who burned a Target outside of St. Louis and the nation's fucking capital? I don't know why we would think there's a difference between the two. All right, I have not watched this and I want to see it. It may just be, there may be no commentary necessary because it may just be the joy of watching Tucker Carlson like burn Ted Cruz down and watch him grovel. Now, if you'll recall, Trump insinuated regularly that Ted Cruz's wife was ugly and called him Lion Ted and all this other stuff and just basically shit on him. And Ted Cruz tucked his tail between his legs and went over to, ball gargle Trump as soon as he got the nomination. Just absolutely in no way, in any classic sense, the definition of a man. And the idea that somehow he's going to be schooled by Tucker Swanson Carlson, Jr., the third Esquire of the House of Salisbury Steak is hilarious. This might just be derp on derp crime.
We played this tape for you last time. We were surprised by it. We prefaced it by saying every conservative appreciates Ted Cruz because he's one of the smartest. And
ouch. That much sarcasm right out of the gate, that's got to be painful. Do you realize what you're saying about the Republican Party, right?
Articulate people in the Congress, and he's conservative.
Yeah, he obviously, during a snowstorm when his constituents were dying, he went to, a vacation in Mexico where it was warm, and but he's one of the smart. He does have that whiny, shitty voice, or he's trying to do a bad impersonation of George H.W. Bush all the time.
Referred publicly to what happened on January 6th as quote a violent terror attack. Here it is.
That was the problem. Was him referring to it publicly? Oh, I'm sorry. He's supposed to do what everybody else at Fox does, which is call it that behind the scenes, but then come out on screen and defend it. This is the Sean Hannity methodology. Is that what we're doing?
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage.
Oh, you're confused. I thought Tucker was mad at him for saying that it was a terrorist attack. No, that's not what they're mad about. This is what conservatives are mad about. He just defended law enforcement. You don't do that. Ever since the January 6th last year, cops are on the receiving end, kids. Trump supporters were trying to shove Blue Lives Matter flags poles up cops' asses. You can't defend cops now.
Incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
Senator Cruz was game enough to come on tonight. We appreciate that.
Hey, you didn't say. Notice he didn't say we appreciate what he said about the police officers that worked very hard on that day, but all of what Ted Cruz said is problematic to Tucker Carlson, just for the record. Because we moved on without tipping that hat to law enforcement on that day. So Tucker Carlson's effectively saying, fuck them. ACAB, whatever.
It's us now. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. So
this is the look you have on your face on your first night as a gimp. Where you've been dipping your toe in the BDSM world for a long time, but you're like, tonight's the day I go full zipper hood with no seat in my pants. Hello broom handle, goodbye dignity.
guess what? I mean, there are a lot of dumb people in the Congress. You're not one of them. I think you're smarter than I am.
So far, this is going very well. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
You never use words carelessly, and yet you called this a terror attack when by no definition was it a terror attack.
Yeah, it was specifically a terror attack. It was using violent means to subvert a political system, to enforce your political will on someone through violence. That's terrorism. Yelling in mass, hang Mike Pence, large groups of people screaming it. Even the act of going heave ho while you're doing that is because you're breaking into the Capitol. It is actually the very textbook definition of terrorism. They think the idea is that because nobody Osama bin Laden'd it behind the scenes, that it didn't pick up, that it was sort of organic terrorism. It's like homegrown terrorism, with oats and vitamin C. It absolutely was fucking terrorism. What do you think building a gallows is? If not terrorism. That was a prank. It wasn't so much terrorism. It was a finger wag.
A lie. You told that lie on purpose, and I'm wondering why you did.
First of all, not a fucking lie. You're defending the people who built the gallows right now. Right now, Tucker is all in on fuck the cops who stopped people or tried to stop people, and whatever happened to them, they kind of had it coming. It's not terrorism because, I don't know, there's no, by the way, one would make the case, this is future media students of the world, when you're watching a video of my show in the future, and they're teaching this in journalism school, because I magically became a voice of reason in this madness. Because in the world of the clinically insane, the guy who can actually put his pants on zipper forward is king. One would say that you would say it is no way terrorism. It's not terrorism. That was a lie, because the very definition of terrorism is because for it to be terrorism, it would have to be this. Now, why would you say it's that if it doesn't meet these criteria? And it does meet all the criteria for being terrorism. So he's castigating him.
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on. When you aired your episode last night, I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because
I need help. And when Matt Gaetz was facing all of his bullshit, you let him come on and, place his balls on your forehead to give him that little lift. And I was hoping you'd do the same for me.
The way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And
I don't buy that. Whoa. I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as serious.
No, he was not. Being on the list doesn't mean you're a contender. Let's be. They put him on, fuck off, Supreme Court contender.
Is any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
So, Tucker, as a result of my sloppy phrasing, it's caused a lot of people to misunderstand what I meant. Let me tell you what I meant to say. What I was referring to are the limited number of people who engaged in violent attacks against police officers. Now,
for political means, with the express desire to stop the counting of electoral votes, seize control of the government, and reinstall a dictator. What the fuck? Of course it's terrorism. What do you think he was talking about? the people on the fucking steps who were having snacks and Facebooking, fuck off.
You and I both agree that if you assault a police officer, you should go to jail. That's who I was talking about.
I don't know that he agrees with you, Ted. Look, his face didn't change. I don't think Tucker thinks that at all. I think he's on team. Those guys were, the cops in that moment became UN shock troops. Fuck them.
The reason the phrasing was sloppy is I have talked dozens, if not hundreds of times. I've drawn a distinction. I wasn't saying that the thousands of peaceful protesters supporting Donald Trump are somehow terrorists. I wasn't saying the millions of patriots across the country support.
Okay, this is an important point. I'm sorry to interrupt again, but this is kind of important. So we've heard multiple times about how people are complaining that the Democrats are tagging the January 6th insurrectionists onto the Republican Party and saying that all Trump supporters, all voters on the Republican side are the same as the people who, shocked a cop till he had a heart attack with his own taser, tried to seize his gun and kill him with it, stomped one of their own dead, gouged another one's eye out, cracked one of them's spine, shit in the halls and wiped it everywhere, stole laptops and tried to sell them to Russia. That crowd, that we're automatically saying that those people are the same as the Republican Party. When for months, we try to make a very strong distinction between those two groups of people, but they're the ones that keep throwing their arms around these fuckers and going, no, they are us. They are part of what we're doing. That drawing that line, the fact that he's fucking walking this back is going, yeah, but it was like 8 or 10 of the 3,000 people that were part of the mob that made the direct violence possible. What's a tip of a spear without the rest of the fucking spear? Right? If you remove the spear, it's a fucking rock. Or a hammered piece of metal that you got to throw like a knife or something. But you take the spear part away, and it is not nearly as deadly. So when you talk about people who are being the tip of the spear, which is what he's talking about, the rest of the people who were there, who helped break the doors down, who helped them get inside, who pushed back law enforcement so they could get forward, they are equally as guilty. If people rob a bank and they shoot someone in the process of that, the getaway driver is just as guilty of that murder as the person who pulled the fucking trigger. I was outside. You were outside making sure the murderer got away. Shut the fuck up. Where is this stand? And again, we're the fucking, pro-crime party or some shit. Get out of here.
President Trump are terrorists, and that's what a lot of people have misunderstood.
Well, that's because they're dumb. And you're dumb, and he's dumb, and they're all dumb, and you're dumb people talking to dumb people, and it's very easy to get confused.
Wait a second, but hold on. What you just said doesn't make sense. So if somebody assaults a cop, he should be charged and go to jail. I couldn't agree more. We've said that for years. But that person's still not a terrorist.
Well, they are if they're in the process of carrying out violence for political means. What the fuck are you talking about? And again, this is him back, I'm not defending him weaseling out of this. He absolutely is. But at the same time, Tucker Carlson is pretending these aren't Capitol Police. They weren't defending the Capitol. This is just it's like beating up a beat cop. They happen to be in the way. You know what I mean? These crooks turned left instead of right, and that cop got it.
How many people have been charged with terrorism on January?
None. Well, making terroristic threats, and trying to interrupt the flow. I mean, they're being really nice to these assholes because they're trying to fold them back into society. They're trying to let as many of them off as possible. This is much more akin to post-Civil War Reconstruction and trying to treat these people like humans, even though they were acting in an inhuman way. I mean, domestically, do we ever charge people that often with terrorism, per se? Making terroristic threats and that kind of stuff? I mean, it's language, but whatever.
Sixth. Why'd you use that word? You're playing into the other side's character.
No, I'm sorry. What's the other side? Right, our side, which is the against terrorism side. See, my side, we're not fans of terrorism, I guess. Since we're on opposite sides, clearly, the other side would be, it's not terrorism if the cop had it coming. Right, Tucker?
That, as Joe Kent just explained, allows them to define an entire population as foreign combatants. And you know that. So why'd you do it?
Entire population? Hold on, wait. He's referencing something earlier in the thing. Clear this up.
Terrorism on January 6th. Like, why'd you use that word? You're playing into the other side's characterization that, as Joe Kent just explained, allows them to define an entire population as foreign combatants. And
Oh, no, I see. This is Tucker overlaying his own racism onto the terrorism charge against people who carried out specific actions. Because to Tucker, if Muslims carry out terrorism, therefore, cogito ergo sum, terrorists are Muslims. It's an A-B logic that he has. So in this particular case, that, by calling people who actually charged into the Capitol, actually assaulted police officer, actually damaged the place, set up gallows, screamed they were going to hang the vice president in an attempt to terrorize either, I guess, the cops into falling back or turning with them for fear of dying, which is what happens when a lot of these coups happen, and then putting the fear of violence into the people carrying out their duties that day so that they would upend what they were doing and allow them to seize control of the government. Yeah, terrorism. Yeah, it's all terrorism.
So why'd you do it?
So Tucker, let me answer you directly. The reason I use that word, for a decade, I have referred to people who violently assault police officers as terrorists. I've done so over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's a colloquialism. In my neighborhood, that's what we say when somebody attacks a cop. You know what I mean? Even if they were running away from a cop after a robbery and they circle back around and try to punch the cop and take their gun so they can get away, Bonnie and Clyde, worst terrorists you've ever heard of. It's just terrorism. I use that word for everything. It's kind of like Eskimos and snow, but in reverse. It's the Smurf word of Ted Cruz's
You look at
flag.
all the assaults we've seen across the country. I've called that terrorism over and over again. That being said, Tucker, I agree with you. It was a mistake to say that yesterday, and the reason is what you just said, which is we've now had a year of Democrats in the media twisting words and trying to say that all of us are terrorists, trying to say you're...
No. The colloquial idea that, by the way, that I would refer to both of these assholes as stochastic terrorists, vilifying large groups of people, putting a target on their back because they're associating them with some sort of violence or criminality. Therefore, the idea of the very reason you don't say things like Kung Flu and China virus and that kind of stuff, because it puts Asian people in danger, because it's a form of stochastic terrorism, blaming, painting this group that way. That is a totally different shape than the people who actually took up physical weapons and joined together in a mob to change the direction of the government. Like, this is so fucking stupid. Here's a good idea, dum-dum. Just stay off the news for a while. You didn't need to go here. Tucker, is and by the way, this is wrestling. Jon Stewart had Tucker's number a long time ago. They've talked this out. It's going to come around to where he protects Ted Cruz. This is Ted Cruz. And to do this, to put on this bullshit show, Tucker Carlson has to pretend that he's being hard on him. This is a show. This is a fucking show. In this situation, he's lying about his, recharacterization of what he said. By the way, him calling it terrorism in the first place was his belief that that the Republican Party is starting to separate itself from Trump and Trumpistan. But they're not far enough away for the Ted Cruzes of the world to let go. And he thought he was. He's got to gear up for 2024, and he's behind the 8 ball because everybody thinks of him as a Trump ball gargler. And so he's trying to, steady himself as a normal, the appeal to the suburbs version of Donald Trump. That's the goal. He's going to fail miserably. Please, Ted Cruz, run for president, because you're going to fucking fail, and it'll be hilarious to watch and a giant waste of money for anybody who donates to you. And it's as much fun as watching them set their shit on fire. So their money on fire. Just like, I was going to donate this to Ted Cruz, but this will be just as effective. Kerosene, please. But Tucker's, this is where they go now.
Terrorist, I'm a terrorist. And so, look, I don't like people who assault cops. And
by the way, I don't give either of you enough credit to be terrorists. Neither one of these assholes is going to sacrifice themselves for anything. Neither one of these guys cares enough about anything they believe in to really, put their life on the line or something. And honestly, terrorism is too big a word for these armchair shit smearers like Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz.
I stand up and defend cops. And the reason I use that word is that's the word I've always used for people that violently attack cops. But in this context, I get why people were angry.
And by the way, Tucker is not on board with this still. These are Capitol Police. They're not real cops. Fuck them. That's where Tucker is with this. Look at his fucking face. Look how there's no interruption point. There's no point like, well, yeah, I get that. It is terrorism if somebody attacks cops for this reason. But the problem is he can't answer that, because if he does, he has to admit that the reason the Capitol cops were attacked were for political reasons, and the violence carried out doing that is... Yeah, you're all saying terrorism at home. I can hear you.
Because we've had a year of the corrupt corporate media and Democrats claiming anyone who objected to the election fraud. And by the way, remember...
No. Just you. You were basically you jimmied the door, basically left the door open. In the bank robbery where the guys with guns came in through the side door, you're the guy that on his lunch break, for a little pile of scratch and the promise of future reward, stuck a piece of cardboard in the hole where the lock latches, so that the door would remain open, that you could just pull it open, that it wouldn't lock. That was Ted Cruz's fucking job that day. That's what he was doing. He was holding things up until the troops could arrive. Gosar teed it up. He was the one who was the first senator to say, yes, I will allow this to move forward. And that's what you do. You just will if you keep them busy with this bullshit on the floor, we'll get our people in there. They'll, put a gun to Pence's head or some shit and make him do what we want. He acted as the mole. And again, he was the guy in the sort of the inversion of the getaway car. He's the inside helper, pretending I'm not a part of this. I didn't fire a shot. I mean, the guy's still dead. All I did was hold a door open. Is it illegal to hold a door open? Right. That's fuck off.
What was happening during those protests?
Can I ask, hold on, you work in this, I guess I just don't believe you. And I mean that with respect, because I have such respect for your acuity and your precision, and I've seen it on display. I've covered you as a reporter. I know how you speak. And you have sat there for a year and...
He said it because it was terrorism, and because he's in danger of attaching it to himself, and the only way he can stiff-arm himself away from it and have any future in politics beyond dying out as one of Texas's dumbest senators is to start pushing himself away.
Watched people use language to distort the events of that day. Intentionally. Insurrection.
Insurrection, coup, terrorism. Yes, all that apply. Yes.
Of course it was an insurrection.
Yes.
Saying it's an insurrection is a political term. It's a lie. I've repeatedly denounced it.
Oh, it wasn't an insurrection. It was an attempted insurrection. It wasn't a coup. It was an attempted coup. Don't worry, we're not giving you credit for being successful. You and Trump and everybody involved are complete fuck-ups. There was no way it was going to work. But you had to swing for the fences because he'd already fucking lost. It was an attempt at terrorism, though. That's something you can do whether you're successful or not. Terrorism is not about result. It's about the attempt.
And when it comes to, look, I was focusing on what I normally say. That what you aired was a little 15-second snippet. What I normally say is violence is wrong, peaceful protest is right. If you engage in violence, you should be prosecuted. If you're speaking...
Yeah, that's what Joe Biden said last year and the year before, all during the fucking campaign. And you guys pilloried him for saying, well, you're supporting you support protesters, therefore you support the burning down of cities. And he was like, no, if you set fires or you steal shit, you go to jail. But you've got to separate the difference between peaceful protesters and the people who are doing that shit. And if you can't, then it just means you're trying to dirty the actual protests and the reason for the protests with the violence that's happening. Which is what they did. I mean, they ran against, Trump ran against Biden on that very idea, and so did, Ted Cruz was hand in hand with him doing it.
You have a right to speak. I say that all the time.
Well, amen, and I agree.
In that snippet.
So who's Ray Epps, by the way, since you are a senator? Like, he and this other guy are clearly encouraging the crowd to commit crimes. Neither one has been arrested or charged. What is that, do you think?
So I think that is a very good question. I don't know who Ray Epps is. I've seen that video multiple times. It's disturbing. He's clearly urging the crowd to violate the law. When you see the crowd start chanting, Fed, 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 for him to appear on the FBI's most wanted list and come off, it certainly suggests he was working for the FBI. That's not conclusive, but that's the obvious.
Yeah, and by the way, this is the out. This is the tap up. Now he can. The argument about terrorism is done. He's paid his penance. He's kissed the cock ring of Tucker Carlson. He's bowed his head and asked forgiveness from the maggots. And now this is but it was really a big setup. An easy setup, obviously, because maggots are easy to lead. All you got to do is wave the possibility of violent insurrection in their face and go like, oh, just up this hill and we should smash something? That guy's Antifa who's telling us to do that. I don't care. Like, is that what we're supposed to believe? We're supposed to believe that maggots are so doughy-headed that they get that like, he told me to. He told me to. I didn't know. He told me to.
Application. And the Attorney General and the Department of Justice won't answer the question. Tucker, I can tell you, I joined with a number of other senators trying to get the Biden DOJ to answer the question why so many January 6 prisoners are in solitary confinement, why they're being treated so.
I'll tell you, because they refuse to get vaccinated or allow themselves to be tested or wear masks, and they threaten to spit on guards and all that kind of shit. And the guards have to go home at night to their families and not die. That's why they're in solitary, fucko. Because they're doing the best they could do to isolate them away from other people in a situation where they may be contagious and they don't care to fix it. That's why. Half of these motherfuckers are out. They're not even wearing ankle, GPS monitors. The only ones that are still in there are the ones that, spit in a cop's face in the jail and said, now you've got COVID, or told the judge to fuck off, or said, I'm going to spill blood once they let me out. Yeah, you're not going to make bond that way, buddy. And the large portion of Gen 6ers who are in the DC jail, for example, are not in solitary. They've already been released. The ones that are in solitary are the ones that are still in jail. And the ones that are still in jail are only still in jail because they act like this or are not safe to walk among the rest of society right now. And the ones that are in solitary are the ones that are off the fucking chain. That's why. There's a dude in there. He and his buddy FaceTimed themselves attacking the Capitol. They attacked a cop. The one guy's still in jail. The other guy was like, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know what I did. I will stay at home. And he's been abiding by the terms of his bond release and trying to be a normal human being again. He hasn't shown up at a fucking state capitol with an AR-15 or anything. He hasn't been caught building bombs. He passes his drug test if they give him one. Meanwhile, the guy who did the same shit he did in his Zoom call with the judge went, fuck you, you're not, Donald Trump's still my president. And if I get out of here, the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of tyrants. Click. Fuck off. That's why most of these assholes are getting let out.
Much worse than the Antifa rioters and the people who committed firebombing and a year of riots across the country. And this Biden DOJ won't go after them. But let me also make a quick point, Tucker. Remember, while thousands of people were standing up to defend this country on January 6th, at that exact moment, I was standing on the Senate floor objecting to the election results.
Yeah, asshole, we know. You're trying to distance yourself from the real the physical criminals on that day to save your own ass. Because that's really what that whole thing was about, so.
Demanding that we impanel an election commission to consider evidence of voter fraud. And I brought together 11 senators to join me in supporting getting to the bottom of that. So, of course, it would be...
Yes, getting to the bottom of that. In other words, just holding the door open long enough because just holding the door open to the bank isn't going to get the money stolen. It's just opening a door. But if I hold it open long enough, the crew will get here.
Ridiculous for me to be saying that the people standing up and protesting to follow the law were somehow terrorists. I was talking about people who commit violence against cops, and you and I both agree, if you commit violence against cops, you should go to jail.
Yeah, but you're not a terrorist,
If you do it for political means, you are dum-dum. All right. If a criminal walks up to two cops sitting in their car and kills them both, not a terrorist. Criminal, murderer, cop killer, not a terrorist. But if because they're watching his house or he's trying to get away or blah, blah, blah. But if he kills them because he's, an insane, he's like one of the, the Black Hebrew Israelite nutty guys, like the ones that shot the two Jews in Brooklyn. If they do it for that reason, because cops got to go and cops need to know they're on notice and they got to, we got to kill a couple of them so they know we mean business, fucking ain't right, you're a terrorist.
You're a guy who assaulted a cop. Okay, so there's a
yeah. I mean, you just people kill a cop. It's like it's like this. If you kill my dog because you're the vet and my dog's been sick, or you walk into my yard and shoot my fucking dog, it's the difference. You're just a dog killer. You just shoot a dog. You just put a dog to sleep through different means. Right, Tucker? What's the difference?
The legal difference, as you well know better than I do.
Yeah, no, apparently you don't know. There isn't a legal difference. It's why you do it. Why you carried out the violence. These people weren't pissed over parking tickets, dumb fuck.
We're actually in the running for the Supreme Court, and there's a moral...
No, he wasn't. No, he was not. He was not in the run. He was on a list given to Trump. He was not on the fucking... No, he wasn't. Never. Not ever.
Between a guy...
But Tucker, the reason I use that word is for a decade I've used that word for people that violently assault cops. I use that word all in...
We've done this. It's starting to sound like a Trump interview. You're saying the same shit again.
2020 for the Antifa and BLM terrorists that assaulted cops and firebombed police cars. But I agree. It was a mistake to use the word yesterday because the Democrats and the corporate...
No, it was a mistake to use the word yesterday because your own base is pro-terrorism in this case.
You have so politicized it They're trying to paint everyone as a terrorist, and it's a lie.
Exactly.
And by the way, I've spoken out
exactly.
vocally against your exchange
they
you just
are.
had. They want to paint us as Nazis. Yes,
I know, it's scary.
That is what they're trying to do. And look, I'm the one leading the fight in the Senate against this garbage. And it's what I have been doing, and it's what I'll continue doing.
Well, I appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you very much, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Yeah, so compelling. The analysis and the stuff. Yeah. Hold on one second. All right, hold on one second. Back to here. There we go. I mean, hilarity, but again, not surprising. This is what they have to do. This is, it's required behavior. You have to go on Tucker and get your ass covered or something. Now, the difference is that Gates arguably has like compromise on Tucker, because remember, that's why he dropped that whole, remember we went to dinner, it was me and you and your wife, and it wasn't his wife. So Tucker, Gates and Tucker probably took a picture together at that event, and Gates probably has the picture. That's the concern. So he was really nice and let Gates come on and do this. Whereas Ted Cruz just, Ted, a little piece of advice. Next time you're hanging out with Tucker Carlson, get a compromising picture. Your next interview after this bullshit will go much smoother. All right. Now, you know how sometimes when I do, by the way, thanks. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is me resetting. Look at that. Don't forget, remind me to reset about every half hour because I'm terrible at it. Remember how every time, like when we pull up some of the shows, there'll be moments when I see a thumbnail, like, because I don't pre-watch these videos, I just respond to them naturally. And I'll see a thumbnail or a moment, and it just makes me crack up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of them. Like, some of them, like, we've had a couple of them with, like, Mark Levin. He's had some pretty hilarious ones. Rudy, when they try to up their game. Don Jr.'s really fucking horrible at it. Thanks for that was a great reset. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Support the show. And if you hate the show, thank you for being here and thank you for typing stuff. Because the more you write, the more the algorithm thinks, man, this guy's engaging. Even people who hate him write stuff. They'll surely stick around for the commercials. And that raises my CPM, especially on Facebook where the lunatics are. So thank you and hello. And there you go. And so anyways, sometimes when I'm clicking around these things, the thumbnail is so hilarious. It just on its own is enough to watch it. And then sometimes it will be the first frame of a video. Just hits you just right. You know what I mean? And in this particular case, Glenn Beck is interviewing Trump. He's doing this whole like 47-minute video about it, one of his special reports. And he doesn't start the interview until way in. Thanks, Evo. In this particular situation, like I just kind of pushed it forward until I saw frames of him sitting with Trump, and then I just back it up. But I don't listen, I don't watch it. I just want to, just using the visual cue of it. And this is what it landed on. And we deal with Steve Bannon's bullshit, Navy talk and his stupid like pictures behind him, his two Jesus pictures and his Steve Bannon phrase on his fucking empty fireplace mantelpiece in the living room where they do the show in his house in DC or whatever the fuck. And every time we turn around, Glenn Beck has a different set and a different look. This dude cannot decide I swear to God, he changes outfits more often than Cher in her Vegas show. It's hilarious. And then this situation, this like, you're out. Like the, whatever. I'm sure it's a big moment from a boxing match. I don't know it in particular. It looks like a painting that he had commissioned. But it also looks like it looks like the referee is teabagging the loser. It's a terrible. It looks like he's down. I've always been attracted to him. I think I'll rest my nuts on his shoulder. Or like watch a human being squat out another human being. You'll believe. Oh, he'll be here. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, it's wrestling. More than boxing, it's wrestling. I can't see gloves on the dude, and they don't show the other guy's arms. So it could just be a wrestling match, in which case that says more about Glenn Beck's taste in reality than anybody else. Yeah, he's in a Mennonite. This is Mennonite preacher Glenn Beck and all of his Fisher-Price outfits. This is this is his disguise when he's the red herring in a Criminal Minds episode where you're like, I don't know. That looks like a guy who'd have 5 bodies in his yard. Methinks he doth protest too much, but it's too early in the episode to think it's him. It's Joe Louis? Yeah. Well, it's all about the ref, is all I'm saying. Like, the weird angle on this is really strange. And it's a painting. But your gout. He just looks like he's dipping his balls on him. It's just very weird. And then he's got this, like, Native American totem head hat / clog. I don't know, one shoe. And then, like, this Pottery Barn. Like, this is just shit. Like, this is what Russians fashion fill a house with to look like Americans. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing looks like shit. It just looks like, I don't buy it. An offshoot of Hogwarts. Man, Harry's really let himself go to shit. It's just sad. He's a myopic KFC model. He's cosplaying Burl Ives. You might be onto something there because the faux Christianity stuff is something he sells all the time. Yeah. His trophies from the bodies in the basement. And then, of course, a painting he's not yet finished over in the corner on an easel. Like, just fucking... It's so belabored, right? It's such a set. It's like influencer houses. You ever see, like, YouTube influencer houses? We looked at it this morning on one of these things. And you're like, the dude's desk like mine, where he does the show, is like a complete fucking... travesty. Here, hold on 1 second. Let me show you something. My house is fairly well kept. Fairly. Meanwhile, here's my view of the world. Right? Just all that I see the chat when I'm looking over here. That's me looking at you guys. And I got this other shit here and my little hamburger phone and like joke stuff and, like that's what my house really looks like when I'm working, right? But they want to get this illusion that everything's all polished and sweet and stuff everywhere in the house, even though they, like I said, on the other side of the camera, it's all lights and nonsense, just like a real TV studio, And then it's the same thing at his place. This is all bullshit because I guarantee that's a fake fucking wall, or at least a room they've turned into something and he doesn't live in it at all. It's yet another set. It's all showboating. Anyway, so let's see what the interview goes like.
On the future and practical solutions. I think that's where America is. And
oh shit, he was still sick when he did this one. So the wraparound, he was just, because he sounded like shit yesterday, so he's just starting to be bad. He's like, this is at the he must have taped this before, wrapped it around the other thing, and then his voice got worse.
Was my mindset when I visited Mar-a-Lago recently for a sit-down interview with the former and potentially future president.
No. No. And as you watch this interview, but I don't think he's a green screen. I think that's a physical set. I don't think he does green screens. He does it. He pays for this. This is where he makes an excuse for the money. That's how he gets people to invest or whatever the fuck, however they make money over there. It's got to look like a show. So yeah, he didn't use a set. I use a green screen because what my rooms look like is none of your fucking business. I'm not crazy.
Donald Trump.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, thanks for leaning just like you do with everyone else. And by the way, is it just me, or does Glenn Beck look like he's about to pounce across that table and make out with him? Also, hold on. Give me a second. Glenn Beck is 6'3". So is, allegedly, Donald Trump. You know, they were exaggerating Trump's height, shrinking his weight, but exaggerating his height. He's genuinely 6'3". Now, granted, you know, Trump is older and perhaps shrinking, but look at the size of his fucking head. Is that weird? Because Glenn Beck, who's odd, is at least sort of proportionate for a guy his size. I mean, he looks like he's sitting on doll furniture in this fucking place. Meanwhile, Trump's head looks fucking tiny. Is Trump shrinking? Are we already at that? Or is he hitting his RBG years? I'm so excited here. Let me look at my cards. I was only able to glance into your eyes for a split second before
Granting us this interview. I asked the audience what they wanted me to talk to you about, and overwhelming was, please just first thank him for everything that he's done. And one of them said this, but it was the reflection of all of them. Please tell the president we have not forgotten what he did for us and what he sacrificed for us.
Yes, that was from someone who's currently in solitary confinement in the D.C. jail.
We really need to hear now, can we get out of this mess? There's the deep state, the GOP, school choice, China and Taiwan.
Oh, it's just the deep state. Yes, that's what we're worried about. How are we gonna? There's so many things.
I had a beat off.
Yes, there's so many. How is he going to go about
de-engineering
the way we're in right now? You know, perhaps we can roll back life.
action replays in magnified fortune?
On Russia and Ukraine, the gas prices, the FBI targeting parents. I'd like to start
just for being. By the way, the FBI is just targeting parents now. Just parents. Just for being parents. Anybody who's got kids, they're looking into you. They don't trust you. What are you even thinking?
You on the economy and talk to me about how we can turn it around and what does.
Oh boy, yeah, no. I got news for you, Glenn. You're digging a hole, and there's no way for him to climb out of. We did the best thing ever, and we could so do it, and they're destroying our country. Something like that.
Damage. So on the economy, is this just the natural consequence of shutting the world down for a pandemic? Or is this the policies that have been coming out?
So inflation's a big word, and stagflation's even worse if you think of it. And we have lots of both. And
I'm sorry. This is okay. This is going to be so terrible.
a lot of that's caused, in my opinion, by energy. They shut our energy off. They got rid of Anwar. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
After
no one ever dug anything in Anwar. What do you mean they got rid of it? It wasn't like they were pumping oil out of Anwar and then we just closed the fucking spigot. What the fuck are you talking about? That was 5-10 years away for full production, if ever. What do you mean? Jesus.
Many, many decades. Ronald Reagan tried to do it. He couldn't. We got it done. And
neither did you, because you lost the election before it could finish even happening. Fucking hell, you didn't do it either. You could have done it on day one, I suppose. Why the fuck didn't you? Oh, God.
Lisa Murkowski, who's a disaster senator out there, approved somebody. Her vote was the final vote, whose first order was to close up Anwar. That's the biggest drilling site, maybe bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. And so many other things. But, you know, it all begins with energy because it just, the trucks, the cars,
What are you nodding about? Yeah. How do we fix it? Drill in Anwar. That'll do it.
the bakeries, the ovens, the stoves, everything, the planes, everything.
The bakeries, the ovens, the cookie factories.
And it's such a big number. And when I left, it was $1.87 a gallon for gas.
No one was going anywhere. Now, please say $7.50 a gallon in California. Please say it.
Now in California, it was just announced $7.77.
Fucking hell. We do this. We've done this he does this all the fucking time. I think that answer is in the fucking seat. I think he sits in that chair and he immediately can't not do it. Fact or fiction, California gas station charging $7 per gallon? Sadly, it's true. Sadly, it's true. The only gas station in the remote says $7.59. Premium is going for $8.50. The town is known for having some of the highest prices in July 2019, KSBW-TV in Salinas, California says the Americo gas station in the town charged $11.75 for a single gallon of gas. Gas is down in that town, you dumb fuck. We've done every fucking time. How do you walk into this rig? That same gas station, the one that's charging $7.50 right now, is charged $11 before COVID. Son of a bitch. Oh God. How do we get out of it? Sorry. Glenn, he was so close. All right. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
And the rest is all following.
And they're not.
Is it? Yes. Yeah. It's eventually going to be $7.50 everywhere. Largely because most cars will be electric, and most of us will have solar panels, charge our cars on battery power we charged up during the day or from the grid at night when it's cheap, and not have to ever stop at a fucking gas station and no commuter cars. Oh, fucking hell.
What they're doing now is because they believe that we have to be petroleum free.
Which is just crazy.
Insane.
Isn't it? It is. It's just crazy. Why would we want to be petroleum free? Why would we ever give that up? Even if we had the technology, which we do. Why would we ever? Oh, thank you, Betsy. Why would you ever? Why would you?
Yeah.
We are not ready, even in 10 years. Can't we?
That's why it's a net zero phase out over the next 10 years, not an absolute zero. You fucking stooge. None of these assholes understand net zero. Like that, you do compensatory stuff. Commuter cars are going to shift. Long haul trucking and other stuff, it might take longer. But oh, fucking hell. Get out of there, you jerk. Move out of the way. By 2024, 800 mile an hour, 800 mile range battery systems. 800 without stopping. 800 by 2024 available. Nobody is shutting off petroleum right now. We are slowly tourniqueting the unnecessary parts so that the fuel can go towards ships and airplanes and minimize that. It's commuter cars that are the fucking problem. That's why you want to move across from it, because it's assholes sitting in traffic, driving the same 9 miles back and forth every day, puking shit into the air while they sit at a stoplight. The air is better now because we moved to hybrids that shut off at intersections. We eliminate that process entirely and the air is better. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to get rid of pollution? What? Okay, never mind. Like, this is just dumb. But by the way, this is how you fix stuff. Remember, he's talking about, asked him, how do we fix the economy?
Is there a way to focus and get the entrepreneurs to work on the things for the future while still pumping petroleum? So you.
Yes! What the fuck do you think we're doing? What the fuck do you think net zero is? Are they I always thought he was just fucking around, but are they both that dumb? What are you talking about? Did you realize gas stations still have them? What are you talking about? Are you listening? Nothing is moving. Shelves are empty where you live? Where do you live? Out in the middle of nowhere?
Have both. We're reaching for the future, but we're not killing ourselves at the same time.
Well, that's the whole purpose. That's literally what the Paris Accord is about.
The thing is, the other technology does not have the power to fire up our plants. It just doesn't have the power.
Right.
Wind is extreme.
Hi, dum-dum. Yeah, we're not talking about running houses. We're not talking about running factories off of wind turbines yet, or solar panels even yet. That's the point. We minimize our amount of petroleum we use by only using it for those things, and getting away from vehicles and small expenditures all over the country, which make up fucking 65% of the carbon we put into the fucking air. No one is suggesting that we run foundries on windmills right now. Jesus Christ.
Really expensive. By the way, the turbines are all made in Germany and they're all made in China. Those two places.
Oh yeah, the Germans and the Chinese. Once they team up, we're fucked.
And assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth, which is what they talk about.
What? Hold on. What?
By the way, the turbines are all made in Germany and they're all made in China, those two places. And assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth, which is what they talk about, when they make those turbines.
Is that what we talk about? What's when is the last time? Is that what the kids are all calling it? Hashtag atmospheric filth? Atmospheric filth. This interview is going to kill me. Oh, God. Atmospheric filth. Oh, God. That's, by the way, it's probably a term he's heard around Mar-a-Lago a lot because he leaves a lot of it behind when he's walking around the omelet bar. Atmospheric filth. Oh, God. Greatest punk band of the 90s. Atmosphere. CSL, obviously, we've got another one. That's a good one. Atmospheric filth. What the fuck? You mean pollution? Jesus Christ. Who? Okay. Atmospheric filth. If Biden said atmospheric filth, it would be 3 days on Fox and a week on Newsmax. Atmospheric filth. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, God. Take a look at Glenn's position near the table. I think he might be doing some pickups or whatever, but when he's sitting there, he's really sitting there. Atmospheric filth.
No matter how much they saved, if they save anything, the air is very dirty, assuming you believe that. But turbine.
What? Hang out. What? Okay, I was so caught up in atmospheric filth. Is basically saying no matter how much pollution you take out of the air is still dirty.
In China, those two places, and assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth, which is what they talk about, when they make those turbines, no matter how much they saved, if they save anything, the air is very dirty, assuming you believe that. But turbines...
Excuse me. Okay, so what he's saying is they produce more pollution making them than they would save in carbon neutrality. Is his assertion. One's in China. That's true. The German one's not so much. And the idea is that you want to make them in the United States, so they do even less so. Again, he's saying this about wind turbines because he owns golf courses, and that one in Scotland, he doesn't like how it fucks up his view to have to see the wind turbines on the sea or whatever, which are all coming down anyways. And then he can't attack solar panels because solar technology has increased like an order of magnitude essentially since 2009 when the Obama administration was, quote, picking winners and losers and decided to invest in solar. And the efficiency of solar has gone up enormously, not because technology itself made a particularly great discovery that was like, oh, fuck, we needed a particular kind of microscope to do this kind of discovery. It was not possible. It would have been possible if we'd have started this whole process in 1978 when Carter wanted to do it. But everybody hamstrung it and stomped the fucking brakes and kept us from getting there because the oil industry was against it because it can be as efficient as anything else.
Very expensive, doesn't work, and it's very intermittent, and it doesn't have the power to do what you want to do. And by the way, kills all your birds and ruins these magnificent landscapes that are just being decimated.
Oh, God. We've heard this about wind turbines. He fucking hates them. The Scots also have undersea turbines, and they're moving to that system as well. And eventually you won't even fucking see them. And they'll be like breakwaters. It's silly.
By wind. Solar doesn't have the power. And by the way,
it's dirty to make.
It's very tough to make, and it's dirty. And by the way, you have to change them. You have to change those panels at the end of 10 years. Everyone says, oh, great, no. As soon as you start getting your money back, which actually takes 30 years.
Yeah, you don't.
But in 10 years, you have to change the panels. Same thing on the wind. You take a look at those windmills after 10 years, they're beat to hell. And we have
well, it's all the birds. It depends on how big the birds in your area are. But again, yes, sunlight is very dirty to make. And by the way, he's going on solar panel technology studies from like 98.
We're sitting on top of liquid gold, and the world doesn't want us to use it. And certainly China doesn't want it to. We have something China doesn't have, and they don't want us to use it. But it's real power.
This isn't an agreement we have with China about this stuff. This is our recognition of the damage of carbon in the atmosphere and mitigating it, joining together with other democracies. China has its own fucking problems. Again, this guy was president for 4 fucking years, and he doesn't know about China's energy and food problems? Has no idea? He has no idea. He never brings it up. I mean, he's one of these assholes who's always saying they're eating our lunch and that they were going to, they're going to overtake us and they're going to overtake us, which they did better when he was president. But just in the last year alone, the projected economic expansion of theirs that was supposed to overtake us in 2024 has been punted to 2030. And I quote, if ever.
You look at China, they're opening up a massive coal plant every week. Or more.
Yeah.
And
yeah, what's going on? I mean, he quotes this a lot. We've heard this a bunch of times. Hold on. massive coal plant. Where are they getting the coal, by the way? China coal. Let's just look at this. Hold on. Huh? When is this? Hold on. Old article, 2017. Hold on. Here you go. Hold on. News. Let me go to the news stories. Australia has was selling coal to China, as you know, and they put a hold on Australian coal because they were having a pissing match about a canceled BRI, Belt Road Initiative project in Australia that the Chinese were planning on making a shit ton of money and putting a lot of spy gear into to keep tabs on the Australian military and the U.S. military that was there, and they canceled it because of the AUKUS agreement that Biden made with the UK and Australia, which Trump could have done, but for some reason didn't do. Odd. And meanwhile, China's 3 biggest coal mines are now flooded, giant swimming pools. God knows when they'll be able to drain them in any way. It will take enormous explosions or the earth just reclaiming the water magically. Nobody seems to know how. They've made accidental man-made lakes out of them. So they've got to import even more coal, and Indonesia is not going to let them. And this was where they were going instead of Australia. Does anybody does any Trump fans actually read about China for real, or they just take his fucking word for it? Really?
It's not like, gee, it's going to stay within the confines. That stuff comes up and it blows over to the United States. So we clean it up, and it costs us a fortune. We can no longer compete with them. That's why I ended the so-called Paris Climate Accord, because it was so one-sided. I know you like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was so
I like to use.
Yeah, no, they hate it. We've read it on the air. You guys went and saw that. And every provision in it is like, as long as it's financially viable and doesn't put you behind the 8 ball financially. Right? Every portion of it allows an out if the country's hurting economically. It's a gentleman's agreement amongst countries. It's not a legally binding document. It's an accord, not a treaty. Like, this is so stupid.
Cancel it, yes.
Well, we were going to spend $1 trillion.
And by the way, he thinks we vacuum shit out of the air and then they pump it back in. And because they're allowed to burn coal and fossil fuels, their factories are working faster than ours, and therefore they're outpacing us because our factories are going to run on wind and theirs are going to run on coal, and that's why they're able to make more stuff, not because they have millions more people and desperate poverty to force them into labor.
Dollars over a short period of time, and it was all against us.
And you know also that
by the way, if you'll recall, this is an answer to a question that Glenn posed about how you can save the economy. And we're in all this trouble, but how do we, inflation is happening. Remember he said inflation and stagflation at the beginning, and then it went off into this bullshit? He basically thinks we're going to burn our way out of it, I guess, if there's any coherent answer at all.
Climate accords, I never understood why they were so passionate about it. It's because that was the beginning of the banking control.
Correct.
Right, where they are now saying...
Yeah, Glenn, okay. Trump's pretending to know what the fuck Glenn is talking about right now. This is one of Glenn's hanging points, the Great Reset, World Economic Forum, all that kind of shit. This is his puppy. Please, 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 media gods, let there be a moment where Trump expounds, he explains to us in totality the real issue here. Don't let Glenn do it for him and tee him up and go, yes, that's always a problem. I've always thought so. Because that's what I'm afraid is going to happen. I want him to explain the banking problem to everyone.
Well, I don't know. If you're a brown company, we may not be able to give you a loan. This is all happening, and
That's the ECG, stock rating, so that people, if they want to invest in companies, he's saying that you won't get a loan if you're not green enough, and which is a rating that has to do with investors. So if investors want to invest in green technology, or giant pension funds want to invest in earth positive stuff instead of petroleum and big pharma and Raytheon or some shit, they can say they go back to their the members of that particular investment group and say, we're doing this, this, and this is the score we're using, and these are the things inside it, and this is how we know. And it's an investment guide. It doesn't force anything.
Fundamental transformation at a scale I don't think people understand.
Yeah, well, Trump doesn't, but please let him explain to you what you think. Fucking hell. This was just a week ago or so.
When Obama stopped deep sea drilling,
right,
and pulled all of the drilling out, right, the concern was you don't just make a new one. Those are on 20-year, 30-year leases.
Absolutely.
Are we going to be in 3 years in trouble if our banks are putting the small gas, oil, fracking, coal people out? And
yeah, the mom and pop frackers.
Fundamentally changing the structure for green energy.
Yeah.
Can we recover from that quickly? No,
because the green energy is not strong enough to fire up those plants. And
I'm saying, though,
yeah, that's not what he's. All right. You tell you what, you correct him, Glenn.
Quickly? No,
because the green energy is not strong enough to fire up those plants. And
I'm saying, though, let's just pretend that you're going to be president in 3 years. Can we turn this around? And
okay, yeah, let's pretend for a moment. I can't do it. I can't even pretend. Hey, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. I live stream every day, 3 p.m. weekdays, 4 o'clock on Thursdays, because it's Family FaceTime Day, and I'm not going to move that for a live stream. It's just families first, right? That's how we do it. And then, of course, tomorrow is my radio show, 9 to 11 on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT in Chicago, and I also live stream here, infotainmentwars.com. You can subscribe on YouTube if you're watching this later. Just hit subscribe and like and stuff. Thank you for reminding me to reset.
Get on track
quickly. We can. Yeah, we can.
I
mean, we have to.
Yeah. I mean, they're destroying the whole country, and China's going to overtake us, and it's awful, and destruction and any day now. And it only took them 9 months to totally destroy the country, and it's never been this bad. But we could turn it around in a couple of weeks.
Optimism, and this is more than optimism. This is fact. We were energy independent 11 months ago. Totally energy.
All right.
And now we're going to OPEC to beg them for oil.
I know.
We're going to OPEC, Saudi Arabia, Russia. We're going to Russia. We're making Russia so rich. You know, when I ended the pipeline in Russia, everyone said, oh, I'm
If you ended it, how is it still being built?
Nice to Russia. I got along great with Putin and with President Xi and with all of them, but there was never anybody tough like I was on that. And with the tariffs on China, we took in billions and billions of dollars.
They never gave us 10 cents.
Frankly, brought a lot of businesses back home because it no longer made sense for them to do things in China. But
no, COVID did that, fucko. That was all part of the play. I'll let COVID run rampant because that'll be the one thing. I'm playing next level chess. It's going to cost us, 950,000 American lives, but long term, it's worth the investment.
When they did the pipeline, and look at Russia, their primary thing is oil and the cost. What we're doing is we're making them rich. When you see the kind of money that people are paying to OPEC, which includes Russia and Saudi Arabia, these people have never made this kind of money. This all happened over a short period of time.
Oh, you mean when they were during the beginning of COVID, when oil fell through the floor and it was negative $36 a barrel, they were paying you $36 to take a barrel of oil off their hands. And did Trump fill the national reserves then? No. He waited till the cost was well over $25 a barrel. It was already going back up. He didn't want to hurt his buddies. He didn't want to buy it when it was free or force them to pay us to take it. They're taking in so much money. I mean, percentage-wise from when they didn't, Jesus.
Become energy independent quickly.
Again.
Energy will, again,
Yeah.
we were, for the first time ever.
I have to tell you, when I first heard that, I didn't think that was going to happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
We have talked about that forever.
Well, part of the reason why people don't believe it's going to happen in our lifetime and why it is happening ultimately is because we are moving away from fuel, gasoline, being a primary source for commuter cars. From remember when the first hybrid that you can imagine came online? What was it? Maybe 2003 when they really started to pick up. By 2012, 2013, tons of hybrids. The amount of gas that you're using with enough human beings using those kind of cars in this country, and there's an enormous number of them. Just the hybrids. The amount of gas they use goes down enough to significantly take off the amount of money or gas we would have to get from overseas. That in and of itself.
No one in the press talked about the fact that we were energy independent. I remember the first time I heard that we were energy independent.
Right.
I heard it from you.
Right.
It's astounding. And in a month, we're back on.
Well, they just...
Not in a month, no. After not doing anything, gas sitting there. And again, our oil companies don't just sell to the United States. We're not Venezuela, fucko. I don't know why you commies want this. I'm talking to you, Glenn and Trump and maggots. Why do you want us to turn into Venezuela? Why do you even believe there's such a thing as nationalized oil? Well, I mean, you're the same people who think the Keystone Pipeline is American oil anyway, so whatever the fuck that means. It's Canadian. It's so they can get their gas to market, so we can buy it. We don't get to the front of the fucking line. The price went up, and worldwide, the use went up. Our economy has been so successful at getting back on its feet that we're needing more fuel than we normally use.
Everything off.
Sorry.
I got it going. So we were bigger than Russia, bigger than...
Yeah, you got it going. Remember May 2020, how going we were? What about June?
Saudi Arabia. In 1 year, we would have been bigger than both combined. Think of that. We were making a fortune, and it was great for jobs, great for everything.
Oh, somebody's saying we get batteries from China. No, the Tennessee just got its first. Let's see. Hold on. We'll look it up for these folks who somehow think that Americans aren't capable of manufacturing anything. But hey, if you guys, let's see. Here you go. If you guys want to keep sending gas to oil, oil-producing countries, or screwing up your beaches and your fisheries with oil spills, instead of driving American cars with batteries made in fucking Tennessee, explain yourself. Hey, by the way, maybe you've heard all this shit about lithium all coming from China. And we're going to be, even if we do make the batteries here, we're going to have, let's see, hold on. We're going to have, even if we want to make those batteries here, we're going to have to get the lithium from China, right? They own the land in Africa. They've got dibs on the African lithium. There was lithium in Afghanistan, which was part of the reason why we were there. What the fuck are we going to do? Oh no. We're not only sure we can make the batteries in Tennessee with American workers, fuck them. But where are we going to get the lithium? The Salton Sea, ladies and gentlemen. The Salton Sea. one of the biggest lithium deposits. It's the biggest one in North America and in the Americas. The lake is toxic just because it shrunk so much. There's so much fucking salt. Nothing can live in it. I guess you could float in it. It's almost a hot springs, but there's so much other crap in it that you know, naturally, by the way, that you can't do anything. There is enough lithium in this area for 40 million Teslas. And you're not going to ruin a fish hatchery. Nobody lives out there. They used to a long time ago. It used to be, it was vying to be the, you know, the next Palm Springs. Not so much. But hey, if the Trumpers and the maggots want to keep relying on OPEC and Russia, or drilling holes in the ground that poisons our aquifers, or letting Canadian shale oil run through the Great Lakes, I mean, explain yourselves. Yeah, it's been drying up for a long time. It's a runoff. It's not a naturally occurring. It's not naturally fed by a river or anything. It only was caused by an extraordinary storm a long time ago. Essentially a flood created it, but it's got no, there's no river that runs to it that constantly repipes it with water on the way to the ocean. So that's why it's shrinking. Do you hear me now? We can make all this stuff in the United States. There might have been a period where it was not financially viable. It fucking well is now.
It was also great for people that drive a car.
Right.
Because they never had it so good. And now, all of a sudden...
Yes. No. Remember how good we had it driving a car, especially during lockdown?
He just stopped the supply. I mean, you look at what they did. They stopped it. They closed down rigs. They stopped the leasing.
Oh, did they? Sorry, did they? Did we close down rigs? They paused oil leases so they could review them because they didn't fucking trust you because you signed a bunch of them on your way out the door. They had to run an ethics test on them to make sure you weren't fucking padding your own pockets. Most of them continued unabated.
Government lands.
Dude can't even drive a car.
Do you think there's any way possible?
Is there any way possible that I could turn this into the new way to sit? Is there any way we could play like we could Greco-Roman wrestle right now? Is there any way that I could just hug you? I promise I'm only partially chubbing. What is that? What is he doing? What is he getting ready to do? If I was Secret Service, I would have my hand on my hip. He's sumo. Yeah, he's about to go. Boom. Boom. What the fuck?
That these things that are happening are just miscalculations. This seems so well planned out to destroy us.
It's so many things.
So many.
And it's all self-inflicted.
Right.
And then you start to say, it must be on purpose. Millions of people allowed to come into our country. Prisons being emptied from many countries. It used to be 3 or 4, I'd say, but it's 100. They had 100.
Well, now, nobody was listening to you. So what you do is you keep exaggerating until people panic. That's how you normally work. It's still not working. Hundreds of prisons have been dumped into the United States. They're releasing them. We're not even stopping them. According to Trump, if you're a criminal from another country, if you're Edmundo Kempore, and you've just broken free as the Coero killer from Guatemala, they'll let you out of jail as long as you promise to walk all the way through Guatemala and Mexico and not do any of your criming until you get to the United States. Promise? Absolutely. They're emptying their prisons into the United States. And we don't care, obviously. Now, granted, we keep turning people back and they end up in Juarez or in northern Mexico and either get involved in criminality there and end up doing themselves in or being done in. Yeah, meanwhile this asshole releases 5,000 Taliban like they weren't going to do anything to us. How do you know? Well, I let their dudes out. Why would they?
21 countries now. Prisons where people are being dumped into our country.
We have 12. I think it was 12. It came out 12 cities that are at their peak, breaking records for homicides, all run by Democrats.
Yeah, but those are citizens. None of those cities, in none of those circumstances, is there any even remote accusation that these are foreign nationals. Seriously. If there's any kind of epidemic of violence, it's young men in the States.
Breaking points. And many of those people that are causing the crime are coming through our southern border. We had this.
Are they? How about floating some kind of a statistic? I mean, Glenn could do this. Glenn does a show every day. Glenn, whip it out, man. Back him up.
Longest border in history. Now we have the weakest border in history. And
I blame the wall. It was weird. Somehow we didn't have a wall anywhere, and it worked. Now somehow we put that wall up. It's like it gave them something to shoot for.
Includes drugs. We brought drugs down 61%, and it was going to get better. Wow. And now.
Well, says who? It was down 61% in crossing because you weren't catching them. And secondly, everything was down 61% during COVID, during the initial lockdown especially. No one was going fucking anywhere.
I hear it's 5-6 times more than it was at its worst. It's just coming through unimpeded.
One of the first things that...
No, they're catching 5 times as much stuff. It's not coming through unimpeded. If it's coming through unimpeded, the amount of it available on the street would be 5 times. And it fucking well isn't.
Biden did was to stop the Keystone pipeline. Yeah. And then...
Yeah, Canadian shale oil. Not our oil. The Keystone is not our oil. By the way, talk about the line. Was it the Line 5 pipeline too? We're going to talk about that one? Hold on. Line 5 pipeline. I think that's the one, right? Yeah. Enbridge's Line 5. This is this is their page. That's not going to tell the truth about it. Line 5 pipeline. This is the other one. So if you're going to hold on. I don't want to even go to a lefty site on this. I want to go, let's see. Nah, that's the League of Conservation Voters. I'm not going to go there. Just regular news. The White House is responded to this thing. They were going to shut down the Line 5 pipeline, and they are doing an environmental impact study on it right now. And the reason they're doing an environmental impact study is because it dumped millions of gallons of oil into the rivers in Michigan. And it goes under Lake Huron, I believe. Where is it? Oh, no dispute. State of Michigan, U.S. government, right near the Mackinac Islands. Where we go? Line up 54. There we go. Between, by the way, this is where it fucking goes. This is the same thing with look where this pipeline goes from and to. Where does it start and where does it end? This goes into the United States, under our lakes, across the land. Where does it... Is that American oil? Is it? Do we get first dibs at that oil? Or do they just run it through our area of the lake and across our land? Because if it bursts open, it doesn't fuck up their water and their land. I don't know who the fuck thought that was a good idea. Right? Where in the world? And Keystone was the same shit. Run it over your own goddamn ground. It's your oil. You're selling it when it goes to market. We don't get dibs on that oil. Yeah, and it's already leaked multiple times. But, you know, America first, right, guys? America first. Keystone is a Canadian company. It's Canadian shale oil. Why the fuck does this like? And I love you guys in Canada, but this is bullshit.
You can build your pipeline.
Yeah.
That's something that Reagan, forever we've been saying, don't do that. Poland begged him. Ukraine begged him, don't do that.
I stopped it.
You had stopped it.
It was done.
Correct. If
No, it wasn't. You can't stop it. Honestly, unless we're going to supply Germany with natural gas, we don't have the right to stop a pipeline in 3 other countries. What the fuck are you talking about? We have certain limitations we can put on them. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Biden, Nord Stream to insurers. So what you do is, the pipeline's going to be built, all their eggs in one basket. You sanction the insurers, and if anything happens to that pipeline, they're fucked. It's just done. And now Germany especially and Eastern Europe have every reason to negotiate with Russia to keep them in line and not be fucking assholes. And Russia at the same time has reason not to fuck around and find out what happens when somebody walks over to that pipeline in the middle of it, in the middle of nowhere, and goes, eh. You know, we're not going to be sinking Russian boats full of gas. We're not going to be blowing up trucks, but we sure as shit can hit a pipeline if we need to push back on them. Do these assholes have any strategic brains at all?
you would have done that, people would have said, see there, he's in bed.
He's friends with Putin.
Friends
He
with
loves Putin. You know, it's like crazy.
I watched this.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's friends with Putin, and Putin loves him. That's why Putin's having 3 fucking phone calls with the State Department. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, let's see. Russia, I'm surprised he hasn't said, I'm surprised he hasn't said that Russia, let's see. You know, Putin's like, now that we're out of Afghanistan, it's just a playground for Russia now. He's just having all kinds of fun. He's having to send soldiers that would have been happier dicking around on the border of Ukraine down to Kazakhstan to get shot at for fucking real. Yuck shemesh. All right. That's still nothing. All right.
Being taped in, November or December, and it would be airing in January. But I think it was this week, I watched Putin look at Joe Biden. I didn't see respect or fear from him, a fear of the United States.
Sorry? What do you mean? On video? What do you mean, look at him? I'm sorry. Did you ever see respect or fear from Vladimir Putin towards Trump? Are you kidding me? I mean, everybody sort of respects their dog a little, I suppose.
States or respect for the United States.
True.
You know Putin. You know how he thinks. You know how to deal with him.
Yeah, tell us you know how to deal with him. Yeah, let him have whatever he wants. Anytime the Senate passes sanctions against him, hold those sanctions until the last legal minute you can.
Is he going to move into Ukraine, do you think?
Well, it's looking like that. When Biden told him about what he was talking about sanctions. When Biden says sanctions, Putin's saying sanctions, if they're only going to sanction, then there's no sanction that's going to stop me from taking over a country. And by the way, it's a massive piece of land in an unbelievable location.
Right.
You know that.
Right. And I know real estate. Yeah, there is sanctions. Like the entire Russian government not being able to participate in international banking at all. The kind of sanctions that cause breadlines. Ask Iran. Iran fucks around in other countries, but they sure as shit haven't invaded one. I mean, there's some sweet real estate on some of their borders, I suppose, compared to what they have, but they haven't done it yet.
But he didn't say there could be very serious consequence. A sanction is not a serious consequence, no matter how strong it is. Not when it comes to taking over a country.
Correct.
Well, we're not just sanctioning them. We're giving them lethal weapons. We're just trying not to ratchet shit up. They know it's serious.
And there was no fear. Look, with China, you didn't have planes flying over Taiwan. And I told President Xi.
There were no planes flying over Taiwan. Planes have not flown over Taiwan. They entered the northeast edge or northwest edge of their aerial zone. They crossed a corner of the airspace. They haven't they didn't fly over the fucking country at all. Like, not at all. They have not. They do not. They are not. Meanwhile, with us, the Japanese, the Australians, we're all doing laps around that fucking island, and we have U.S. soldiers in Taiwan training Taiwanese soldiers right now. They're doing drills. We didn't leave.
Can't do that. You can't do that. We had a lot of great conversations right here at Mar-a-Lago when he was here. We talked for hours and hours. We got to know each other very well.
Yeah, you did so well that he told you, nah, COVID, we got it covered. We're fine. You trusted him. He was a professional, right? You talk to him all the time. He said, I'm handling it, and he's handling it very professionally. And there's like a couple cases, and it's going to go away. It's no big deal. Never mind the fact that they knew it was incredibly deadly, as possibly as early as November, if not earlier. I was there in China. When shit started coming. I came back from China, and I was telling people that there's a nasty disease going around over there that if it gets over here, watch out for yourself. People will remember the 2019 Christmas show, the Saturday that I was on the air on my radio show after I'd been in China and come back. And it was already circulating through the country. I was telling, even if I fucking knew, she certainly knew, and this motherfucker should have known. Nope.
I said, you can't do Taiwan. And now all of a sudden, as soon as I leave.
You can't do Taiwan? Is that what you said? You can't do Taiwan.
Start flying over many bombers.
Tell me what.
First of all, no, Glenn. Person who's actually 6'3" talking to person who's not actually 6'3". You can't just let that roll by. Many bombers did not fly over Taiwan. Period. End of story. Fighters transgressed the airspace on the northwest corner of the extremity of their airspace. They didn't fly over the fucking country. Yeah, I'm Patience Hero.
Happens to us. I mean, they always accused you of trying to dismantle NATO. Yeah. NATO is falling apart and will mean nothing if we don't help Ukraine, and neither will any of our treaties.
Oh, sorry. Okay, good. So Glenn's strategic mind is saying that we do need NATO expansion into Ukraine, and that Ukraine should be part of NATO, and that we should have NATO forces and the United States forces in there protecting Ukraine. That seems to be the position Glenn is staking out. Obviously, Tucker Carlson would like a word.
If they move into Taiwan and we do nothing, what does the world look like with Russia in Ukraine and China in Taiwan?
Well, if that
happens, let me paint a picture of bullshit for you.
But with NATO is very interesting. I had my first meeting, 28 countries, including us.
Oh my God, I made them pay more money and they were leaving money behind and they were more than 2%. And this was all after, it was all ratcheting up since 2008 and they got goosed and who cares?
And I looked at the charts and I said, wait a minute, these people aren't paying. they're delinquent, okay? You know the word, a real estate term. They're delinquent. They're not paying.
Yeah, it is. It's a real estate term. Like when he was a juvenile, it came up a lot.
And I said at the first meeting, you're not paying. And then I had a second meeting a number of months later. I said, you have to pay. And somebody said, does that mean you won't protect us from Russia if we don't pay? I said, that's right. You have to pay. And you know what happened? $400 billion came in. $400 billion.
Right. Yeah, you threatened your friends with destruction from Russia. And by the way, if Putin's mad about NATO expansion, it's because Trump forced them into investing. He tried to draw down what we did, but he doesn't hold the purse strings. He wanted to cut back what we give, but he can't. So he was, yeah.
Why would we protect you if we're not here to protect Europe? And by the way, you take advantage of us on trade. That was the other.
Well, the theory is that if Russia takes over Europe, we're kind of fucked. We're next. But America first, right?
I was doing. They're almost as bad as China on trade, and nobody understands it. Nobody knows it. What they've done with so many different companies. As an example, we can sell basically almost no farm product in. And I said to Angela Merkel, how many Chevrolets do you have in the middle of Berlin? She said, why none? I said, that's right. And we have millions of Mercedes-Benz and all of BMW, all of these car companies are floating it in. I said, all of that's changing. Then we got hit with COVID.
Hold on one second. I always try to do this. It'll probably be under news, something like that. Sorry. Stats. Maybe something like that. Oh, maybe that's a good one. Hold on one second. It's hard to get like the actual current stats. Hold on one second. Tesla's new car sales in Germany grew 234% as the wider German market plunged 32%, according to data from KBA. Tesla posts big sales rise in German market as the rest of the market plunges 32%. Tesla's an American company. Oh, yes. Welcome to Hal Sparks' Megaworldwide, where the facts come fast and furious. See, I did a car reference. Look at that. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show. Super chats. You can subscribe if you use Amazon Prime. You can subscribe on Twitch. It doesn't cost you a dime. Twitch.tv/Hal Sparks. Welcome. Hi. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me, guys. You guys are awesome. Might actually this might become a habit if we do it long enough. Thank you. Now, by the way, if you'll recall, Tesla is that company. Some of you might not be familiar with it, named after Nikola Tesla, but no relation. Tesla is that company that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the insistence of the Obama administration putting electric car support in the 2009 rescue package. Remember that? Remember picking winners and losers again? Tesla, there is no Tesla. There's no SpaceX. There's none of that shit without that bailout. None whatsoever. Tesla is a 100% American company, and it was taxpayer backed at its weakest point. And they're killing it in the German car market. But he doesn't consider electric cars American. That's the problem.
Rebuilt it again. We rebuilt it a second time.
Okay, so now one's supposed to kill the virus, not the economy. They're coming back. Hold on, they're gonna be ads, something like that. They're gonna sell some shit. Oh, it's the same. It's the same advertisers Rudy Giuliani has. What a shock.
Lock.com.
The vaccines came in 9 months instead of 10 or 12 years. They thought it was going to take anywhere from.
Do you remember it was 3 to 5 years and now it's 9 or 12 years? By the way, it'll probably be 9 or 12 years before Trump supporters finally come around and admit it's time to get the vaccine.
5 to 12 years.
By the time this airs, Joe Biden will have more people that died in this 1 year than under your
That's
watch.
right.
And he was supposed to fix it. And he has the vaccine.
Who makes up the majority of those deaths? Are they Democrats? Are they even rhinos, baseline Republicans? No, they're not. And as a matter of fact, are hospitalizations and deaths up even when the case rate goes up now? Because vaccination's way up. So people aren't getting hospitalized and dying unless they haven't been vaccinated. But these are his voters that are dying. These are his voters.
He didn't fix anything. And actually, he scared people from taking the vaccine, which is very interesting.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the Johnson & Johnson pause that stopped people from taking it. Now, Johnson & Johnson's one shot, different from the Pfizer and the Moderna ones. Nobody stopped. And vaccinations continue to go up.
The chart,
That's right.
It happened.
You know, when I was there, we came up with it, and everybody.
You mean people stopped getting vaccinated with the Johnson & Johnson during the pause because they wanted to see what the result was, and then when the result came back in, it went back up?
When I left, people really didn't want it, and then they do the mandates, which is terrible. Shouldn't do it.
Would you ever do anything like that?
No, and they shouldn't have done it either. They scared everybody, and they hurt the economy very badly. You know, the mandates are one of the reasons you can't get anybody to work for you. The mandates have been a disaster.
The mandates are why? I thought it was the fact that wages are rising for the first time ever, and people have a choice. 1 million jobs last month. 800,000 people getting jobs back that they had, and then 200,000 added jobs. That's, by the way, what they call in the business a disappointing economic report. 3.9% unemployment. And people are like, but a lot of people have left the workplace. Yeah, because they don't have to fucking work. Because their partner makes enough money now to support the house, and their bills aren't that expensive, and they've narrowed what they do because they haven't had a chance to travel yet, so nobody needs extra cash for a big trip to Europe or some shit. People are getting educated from home. They're like, all right, the kid can stay here and go to college digitally and go to the community college for extra credit and stuff. That'll save us about $12,000. Sure.
But I would like them to take the vaccine, but they have to do it if they want it. And you know what? There's plenty of people that would take it. I won't ask whether or not you've had it, but I
had COVID quite badly.
Okay. And they don't give credit for that.
Right.
If you have COVID, suppose.
No. That wasn't an answer. That's a no. And now he's sick again. And it's fucking with him even worse.
It's as good.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's as good. Why wouldn't you get credit for that? They don't give credit for that. You need to get the vaccination, and it's ridiculous. But they don't.
Because they don't know. Because the people who are in danger of dying from this, who had breakthrough cases this right about the time they were ready to do this, and we all know this, June, July, and August, they were starting to lean up to, okay, can people with, who've already had it, will that be okay? Well, they had more breakthrough cases with Delta, and those people fucking died. So like, we don't know yet. We have to check. Is this an anomaly or a reality?
It's the Biden administration.
He wants credit for like, you can be vaccinated or proof that you've had it. The problem is, remember them all clamoring about HIPAA rules? I don't have to tell you my medical history. Well, a vaccine's not part of your medical history. It doesn't tell anything about it. It just tells what you've been protected against. It's like, I can see you have shoes on. I know nothing about your feet. Right? Your feet could be ugly or amazing. And they could be gnarly and gross and covered in fungus, or your nails can match. I don't know. But I do know you're wearing shoes. It's public. It's obvious. Like a vaccine record. It's why kids have a vaccine record at school, so they can go to school and not bring whooping cough and kill all the first graders. Or an infant at home. It's not a violation of HIPAA when you know somebody's vaccination status. But it is if you know whether or not they've had a disease. That's the part, that's the medical privacy part. But this dumbass goes, well, you should just be able to ask people if they've had it, and that should be enough.
That's why they're not doing it. With all of that being said, if we didn't come, I believe this would have been a 1917 catastrophe, you know, where perhaps.
I know. The chat is full of 1918. Like, oh my fucking God. Is anyone ever going to correct him?
100 million people died. But all over the world, we saved 10 million people, 20 million. We may have saved 100 million. It was spreading like wildfire. But we have to keep our freedoms also. And they didn't do that.
I think when
They didn't. What do you mean they didn't do that? In 1919? They didn't do what?
when this was coming out of China, it was perfectly reasonable.
I suppose he means they didn't by making mandated for companies over 100, but it's still not a vaccine. It's not a vaccine mandate. It's a testing mandate. You don't have to get vaccinated. You just got to get tested every fucking week.
Everything down because we didn't know. They were welding people into their homes in China. We had no idea, and they weren't being open.
And by the way, they weld them in.
Oh God, I can't wait to see what his answer is on this. But we talked about this. The whole thing about China's building hospitals. Oh my God, they built them. Those were fucking prisons. There was no hospital facilities in those things. People got locked in, fed through a door, and if they died, they died. And if they lived, they were let out 10 days later, as long as they shut their fucking face. And that they did that all over the place.
People into their homes in China. We had no idea, and they weren't being open.
And by the way, they weld them in, and they never opened them. Right. That was the end of them.
What? What are you talking about? No, they don't have rotten people in apartments. They didn't just shut in apartment buildings. People aren't still dead inside a fucking building. Oh, God. They never came back for them. They just left the dead there. You do not want to look out your window. People are jumping. It's terrible. They welded the window shut.
Fauci, I wanted to give everybody the benefit of the doubt in those early days.
I understand.
We have done a ton of research. I did one of the biggest chalkboards I think I've ever done.
Right.
Here we go.
They were using federal government money to do
Wuhan.
Yeah, in Wuhan.
I stopped it.
Right.
Oh boy, hang on. Oh, this he's just gonna walk right into this one, right? He's just gonna walk right into this shit. Oh, maggots, gather round. You're gonna love this one. Here it comes. Oh, it's so good. Oh boy. Oh, maggots, please. Here, scoot up. Scoot up close. But get close to the screen. Come on. Tell you what, I'll give you a second. You can put me on the TV in your room instead of just hate watching me on your phone while the family isn't watching. Here we go. You guys ready for this? Trump interview Sky News. On the this is what really happened in Wuhan, special investigation. Oh boy, get up close.
I was dealing with them, certainly, and my thing was a little bit different. I just wanted to stop it. Whether it developed one way or the other, I just wanted to stop it.
But it's important to know where it came from. It's extremely important to know how it developed.
Fauci was dealing with them, and I guess they were even making payments.
By the way, the edit there is beautiful. That little chop.
for certain kinds of research. And I ended that too. I stopped that. When we found out about that, he was doing that during the Obama years. And when I found out about it, I said, can you imagine that the United States is making payments to a Chinese lab? So just that on its face didn't make sense, but I stopped that.
The Obama administration did hit pause on gain-of-function research, though, and that was lifted under your watch. Why did you allow the gain-of-function research?
That look on his fucking face. Just one of those, oh God. One of this,
Lifted under your watch. Did hit pause on gain-of-function research, though, and that was lifted under your watch. Why did you allow the gain-of-function research to continue?
Well, I think probably people that worked for me looked at it, and at one point they might have done that, but ultimately what we did was we shut it off. We shut the whole thing off.
No, they stopped security payments. They didn't stop the gain-of-function research. They didn't give a fuck about the what for. Keep doing what you're doing. We're just not going to pay for any money to the lab anymore. Well, the majority of the money that we were sending, especially at that time, especially after the Obama pause, when they stopped it, was for security. Oh, fuck, they've been doing stuff at this lab. We got to make sure the doors work. Listen to this asshole.
Why did you function research, though, and that was lifted under your watch? Why did you allow the gain-of-function research?
I love how he's listening, the Obama administration, under your watch, freeze. Blink, blink. Watch this. Look, watch him. He's just nodding along with her. It's just habit. Watch.
Under your watch. Why did you allow the gain-of-function research to continue?
Just, and you could just hear the, like soup-filled pants. All right, so anyways, I stopped it. Look where he is now. By the way, this is the same guy. Same person, same human being, who is very aware that recently, although it looks like he's aged 100 years even still, recently answered this question, talked about this, and is trying to get out ahead of this shit. You can hear his asshole slamming shut. Now, here's the thing.
I was the one that's Wuhan.
Yeah, in Wuhan.
I stopped it.
Right.
I was the one that stopped it.
You did, but I don't think Fauci cared about that. Fauci's now claiming he's science. Did you ever, would he still be working for you today?
No, not now, but he's a great promoter. He's not a great doctor, but he's a great promoter.
I was just like, he breaks into these fucking same story every goddamn time.
You have to understand, everything he wanted, I didn't do. As an example, he wanted to keep it open to China. He ultimately was wrong about that and admitted it, and admitted that I saved tens of thousands of lives. He wanted to keep it open. I saw what was happening in Italy and France and Spain, and I closed it to Europe.
Yeah, not the UK, though, because I like Boris Johnson. But those foreign people, yeah.
Early. You know, in China, it was January I closed it. And
yeah, after 30 other countries and all of the major airlines. Haven't really figured out how you close it after the airlines refuse to fly people from there. But I'm sure someone will do that. There's a chalkboard somewhere.
After. We saved thousands and thousands of lives. He wanted to do that. And then his big one of...
By doing the bare minimum. And no, apparently Fauci's biggest problem was that's all he wanted to do.
Them all is the masks are useless. They don't mean anything. And then all of a sudden, he wants you to wear 10 masks. You know, wear as many as you can. Put them all over, cover your ears, do everything. So... yeah,
that's, good. You know, comedy is partly exaggeration. You know, I think clearly, and it's a good running gag. We talked about this before. Oh, thanks, Christopher. Yeah, we cleared 28,000. Right on. We're the little station that could. Look at us soldiering ahead. Yeah, 40,000 people came in during the shutdown. Yeah. And all the Chinese business people who were buying pork and all that kind of stuff flew over and were at the meat processing plants and meeting with people and arranging shipments. And weird, we had outbreaks there. Anyways.
I didn't really do much of what he said. And
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that. Well, except you did ultimately get vaccinated and boosted. Why are you still following Fauci's advice, I guess is the question. I guess, what? Yeah, that just occurred to me. Why? How come nobody's asking him that? Because Trump is still following CDC guidance. He got boosted, right? Why are you, if you did the opposite of everything Fauci said, how the fuck did you get boosted then?
he wasn't a big factor for me, in a sense, because of that.
I think he thinks the presidency works for him now.
Well, he's totally controlling Biden. Yeah. Now I'm saying.
It's totally controlling Biden. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just they're not working as a team and trying to hash stuff out. He's just, I mean, granted, every action of the federal government was in total alignment with Fauci's suggestions while he was on Operation Fart Steed.
Captain's.
But
they are doing what he wants to do now, but I didn't do that. Remember, his big thing was keep it open to China. I said, wait a minute, you have people. Now, since then, we've learned so much about this disease. And you know, when they locked down a city like New York, it was so bad, and yet it was totally locked down. It was locked down, and they were in worse shape than Texas and Florida and...
No. They had more fucking people. High population centers require more of a lockdown. Florida's deaths are worse now. Good Lord.
South Dakota and so many other places.
South Dakota. I don't know why you live out in a cabin in the fucking woods. Why would you lock down South Dakota? It's not even here yet until it is, and then their numbers are going through the fucking roof because you ignored it, and that's why it's a red wave, just like I said it would be. Remember that, guys? Remember when we first started this shit, and we were like midway through the summer of 2020? And I was like, you know, once people start getting vaccinated, the concern point will be all the folks who aren't going to be. And that's exactly what happened. We were all like, okay, vaccines will be here November, December, maybe January, February. People will start getting vaccinated. But then it's going to be all these rednecks, these QAnon assholes who think it's all a hoax. When Trump was saying it the day after the election, they're not even going to talk about COVID anymore. Well, how do you motivate people to take a vaccine against something that you've been insisting will disappear the minute the election happens? And then when you lose, you're like, I don't even care anymore. The problem we have is the rolling deaths through areas that this guy bullshitted into thinking it was no big deal.
Doing worse. People that had no contact with other people were catching COVID, or the China virus, as I call it, because it's a much more accurate.
No, they were not. There have been no spontaneous cases of COVID. Not a one. There's no immaculate conception in COVID. When the fuck? What? So all right, maybe I'm mistaken. Did he just, I mean, he talks out of his ass a lot, but say that again.
With other people were catching COVID.
Hold on.
They were doing worse. People that had no contact with other people were catching COVID, or the China virus, as I call it, because it's a much more accurate term. And you think of it, Len, they have no access to anything, and they were catching it. How did it happen? Who knows? But these lockdowns did.
What? What is it? Oh my God. When did the Mary Magdalenzation of COVID happen? Is there a, That's amazing. I mean, that ranks right up there with like drinking bleach or pouring it in your lungs and sticking a light bulb up your ass to get the light throughout the body. What? Oh, it was late November, I think, as he's saying, right before Christmas break or something, beginning of December, about 3 weeks ago. Huh? It was. I can't. That's amazing. That's just. I don't even know why you call it the China virus. Why isn't it the Mary Magdalene virus? Why? Or I mean the the Virgin Mary virus. Who? How does that even? How's even a thought? People are catching it who never had a. Well, then why are you blaming China? How is it the China virus? I feel like I'm turning into Jerry Seinfeld. Why would you call it the China virus if people are just getting it? Are they getting it from the China? It's not coming from their dishes. Why? What is the deal? This is powerfully dumb. Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Work. And they were destroying the kids. They were destroying. Children have been set back so badly, not having gone to schools so bad.
First of all, you think like British kids after the Luftwaffe bombed London were like incapable of learning or having relationships for years after? Why? What makes you think kids are so easily breakable and shit? Like, I mean, this asshole never did, parent thing one. So maybe he just doesn't know or care.
I have a teenage son, and I've talked about this rarely, but because of the lockdown, being at school, in my family, we had a suicide attempt. He attempted suicide.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And I've only talked.
What? Wait, what? How dare you? Why would you share that about your son? And first of all, the way he said it, I'm not even sure it was his son. Was it a neighbor's kid? What? You do know that this is being filmed, and did you get permission from your child to discuss this?
Once, the mental health of our kids is on the edge, and no one.
Hold on. How is that the system's problem or I mean, he allegedly, if this is even true, which I doubt or whatever, the kid you are talking about, your son, lives in a household where his father talks nonstop about the end of the fucking world, that the destruction is coming, that the UN is here to destroy us, that there's a big Jew in the sky who's going to steal everything, and that America's turning into a cesspool, and that we're all going to die. And it's COVID restrictions on high school that are doing it. What the fuck?
No one's willing to talk about that consequence.
It's incredible. And
people have been talking about it a lot. What do you mean nobody's talking about it?
oh, wait, children you talk about, but people, look at the suicide rates.
Yeah, children aren't people. Not look at children. People, real people, not kids. I mean, they're expendable. Once they get up to a certain point, good old. So kids aren't people. All right, that's fine. Again, the best words.
Look at all of the other things. People have been destroyed with these lockdowns. It's so horrible the way they've handled it. And
you did the initial lockdowns. The majority of the lockdowns happened under Trump. He was president during the initial 7 months of lockdowns. They have lightened up considerably since Biden got in office. And most of them are instigated by mayors in particular situations in responses to spikes and things like Delta, in line with what cities all over the world have been doing. Not a federal lockdown. That's one of the reasons why a vaccine mandate for bigger companies so they could start getting back to work. So you don't have to worry about going to work and running into some asshole who will get you sick or give you a disease you might bring home to somebody in your family that's not old enough to be vaccinated yet.
The disease now, we understand it. We understood it quite a while ago. You look at Cuomo, where he was doing the grandstanding all over the place. He was a disaster. You know, I sent a hospital ship to New York, and I built a hospital, 2,800 beds in the Javits.
You didn't build a hospital. They triaged the Javits Center, built a hospital.
Convention Center.
Thank you, Crystal.
And they didn't use
I will.
it. They sent the people that were infected back into the nursing homes. I said, why aren't you using these things? The captain, an admiral, called. He said, they're not using the ship. And we actually had it designed for COVID.
Yes, because the majority of the people who get this can triage at home. And it's a matter of oxygen and ventilators that was the issue at that point. Doesn't matter if they're on the fucking ship and they're just going to give it to the crew or anybody else there. This is so stupid.
Which is, different in
Like
terms of
we're gonna rerun this shit
and
again?
everything else. Did an incredible job. We had a 2-week turnaround. It was incredible, the job they did. And we kept saying, where are the people? And yet they're going back into nursing homes and people are dying. It was incredible. We did a great job. Some of these governors did a horrible job.
We did a great job. Some of these governors did a horrible job. The great uniter, ladies and gentlemen. I give you Donald Trump, the man who's bringing everybody together. Hold on. I mean, this is the same shit we see all the time, but hold on. Jesus, this show's blazing by too. It's already 5:30. And I have 3 other clips.
President Biden even walked into the Oval Office, he had just taken the oath, and his staff began executing an executive order. Yeah. One of the first one, if not the first one, was to pull the 1776 Commission report,
which I set up.
Mm-hmm. Which you set up. It was.
Oh, this is the anti-CRT segment of the freak out.
Completely reasonable. I've read it. It is accurate history.
Yes, if Glenn Beck thinks it's reasonable.
And if you look at that, I thought at the time, why would that be your first priority? We now know, and we have school boards running things into Marxist territory, pitting our kids against each other, and the FBI
running things into Marxist territory, and the FBI tracking parents just for being parents, not because they've threatened to kill teachers or they're organizing across state lines to threaten to kill teachers, but just being parents. It's the parenting part that they're after. Marxist territory. Yeah, that's Kyle Kalinski's backyard.
Is it time to get rid of the Department of Education and give the schools?
Yes, it was always a problem. Should Rick Perry have won the primary when you were up? Okay.
Back to the states and to the parents.
So I wanted to do that. We would have done that, or we would have done a very big forum of it.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. I just didn't have time in the 4 years I was fucking golfing.
You have people in Washington, D.C. that don't even care about the kids. They're bureaucrats. They're working in Washington, and they're telling people in Iowa.
But enough about Betsy DeVos. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. When I get stuck in these videos, I got to do the whole thing because I'm never going to be accused of taking somebody out of context. Play the whole fucking thing. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
And they're telling people in Idaho and in other places, faraway places, where every place is.
Yes, Idaho is not a faraway place from anywhere. It's always in our hearts.
They're telling them exactly what they're going to study. You don't need that. There should be a little coordination, like you have to learn English. You have to have some basic math. But what they were doing was.
Yeah, rudimentary stuff. I mean, we are training an army of factory workers like it's 1935.
Terrible. And then what happened is it started getting into the whole cancel culture thing and all of the different things that you've been reading about, which is totally true. What they were doing, it's totally true. They tried to say with the Youngkin race, which was very good, which we helped him a lot. It would have been a big...
Yeah, yes, it's true. By the way, that's true. For the record, Trump did help Youngkin a lot by not doing rallies there and not campaigning with them. It was the best thing he could do for Youngkin, was he stayed away. He called his own supporters, but he didn't talk to anyone else.
I'll tell you what, that would have been a terrible result if we didn't. But that was a good race. And people...
Oh, you mean like New Jersey, which you should have won, but you didn't?
Really saw what was happening with the schools. So I think it's a great...
Yeah, move on from that. I mean, move to the next card. I think it's a great what?
Thing to get the heck out of Washington. You know, some of these states do a terrific job.
I agree. I think it was a great thing when you got the heck out of Washington. I was very relieved. It was a good time. Like, oh, fuck, he actually is leaving. Remember when he was on the plane and he was like, bye.
They can't move because of the federal government. They can't do what they want to do. And look at where we stand internationally. We spend 3 times more for education per student than any other country in the world. And we're in 38th place. It's terrible. So you give it back.
Hold on one second. Now, obviously, that's an averaging. So, sort of like a bell curve, I guess. But with places like West Virginia and Alabama and Tennessee fucking up New York's numbers, for example, or even Florida for that matter. I think their numbers are fairly good. Let's see. American education worldwide. It's 2015, Pew Research. In science, mathematics, and reading internationally, the U.S. stands in the middle of the pack on science, math, and reading. We're slightly above average, like my height. How do U.S. students compare to their peers around the world? Hold on, let me blow this up so you guys can see it a little bit. Recently released data from international math and science assessments indicate the U.S. students continue to rank around the middle of the pack and behind many other advanced industrial nations. The small ones that are basically states. And if you put them up against some of our wealthier states by themselves without including the impoverished areas, all right, you get what I'm saying. One of the biggest cross-national test program for international student assessments, PISA, which, failing grade just for that name. It's school. Make school kids check the PISA? Seriously. With every 3 years measures reading ability, math and science, literacy, and other key skills, 15-year-olds does develop country. Most recent PISA from 50th place, unimpressive 38th. I think he's quoting this. This is 2015 results. Out of 71 in math, 24th in science. Among 35 members of the organization, which sponsors PISA, the U.S. ranked 30th in math and 19th in science. Younger American students fare somewhat better on a similar cross-national assessment, meaning that things are improving. That study known as Tim's PISA. They're just fucking with me now. They are. There you go. So, and this is, by the way, red states, purple states, blue states, largely. We're the worst if you don't count all the places where we invest in education.
The states, and some of these states will do a fantastic job. Not all of them. You have some that are badly run themselves. They're not going to do so well. But you'll have...
Yeah, now, I notice when it comes to crime, you drop Democrat-run cities, Democrat-run places, and that's a big thing. Now, granted, they're also the cities with everything. They have more crime, but they also have more people, more stuff, more coffee, more restaurants, more sites, more businesses, more stuff.
That are doing a phenomenal job. They'll be doing a job like Norway, like Sweden.
Hang on there. Hang on a fucking second. Let me talk to this fella a second. Some of y'all are under the impression that American schools, and I can pronounce it in the French vernacular, and yes, I do know the word vernacular. It's a flying bird with a beak that died off 2,500 years ago, right after Jesus arrived. Now, yeah, do some schools do better than others? Yeah. But can they do this? I don't fucking think so. All right? So you can stem all you want, but I'll smoke the leaves. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Tell them about it.
China, China has great education. They do a fantastic.
Hey, it's great. China's got great education. I mean, I've noticed in foreign languages, they are way better at Chinese than we are. That's true. Now, I understand in China, they provide what? We get 3 more years of school paid for over here. Elementary, middle school, high school, they just get 9 years, right? Or 3. They get 6 years, we get 9 years. 12 years. Fuck, when did I quit?
They're rated number 3. And for a small
And believe me, his goal is for everything he touches to be rated number 2.
Of the money that we spend per student, because that's the only way you can judge it.
Right.
We spend 3.
Well, that's true, man. I don't know why we put up with that shit. And I'm sure their numbers are 100% right on the money. Why would China lie about the reading and intellectual capability of their people? You know what I mean? Of course they're going to tell us the truth. Just like COVID numbers and how much coal they burn. Truth is the first thing about come on. They're not going to be harder about that shit than we are. No fucking way.
It's more than any other.
Hey man, I did not quit in 6th grade. They made me go till 6th grade. I left during the summertime. That's when the snow's falling, right?
You take the second country, we spend 3 times more. And some of these kids come out of school, they can't read or write. It's really bad.
I think I know 2 of them right there. Hey, there ain't nothing to be ashamed of. You can't read or write. It makes you a better maggot, man. You know what I mean? Letters are just to be arranged in acronyms to wear on clothing. That's the only thing they serve, man.
So the problem here is, and you exposed this.
I'll tell you what the problem is. How the fuck are you guys supposed to be the same height? It's really throwing me off. Also, I have never been inside a wedding cake. What's it like?
And even I was uncomfortable when you said the press is the enemy of the people. You were right.
Well, that's because you are the press, Glenn. You're part of the press. But he wasn't talking about you. He was talking about actual press. He wasn't talking about like corner of the web shit.
I knew the deep state.
And by the way, the Blaze rocks. Don't get me wrong. I love any network that is named after a lit fart.
A thing. This bureaucracy that just doesn't answer to anybody.
Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't answer to anybody except, we do vote and put people in office and they appoint people and we have school boards and we elect those as well. And people can go to the school board meetings and actually talk about shit. But yeah, basically accountable to nobody. Tell them.
I didn't realize how bad it was until you started to expose it. I just made a list.
Wait, is he talking about his penis again?
Also, I remember you long before I got this involved. I used to get great press. Remember, before I ran for politics, I guess that's how I got elected. Yeah. That's true. I have 2 of his centerfolds. The boy wonder. I was getting great press. Historically, I would get pretty good press. Long before that, you were hitting the press pretty hard. They were also hitting you pretty hard, and you realized it was unfair.
Right.
No, I said they're the enemy of the people. I came up with.
Oh yeah, you came up with that phrase that somebody else said. Yeah, Glenn was. Hold on one second. Glenn, there's something in here. I know it's in here, and I think it's something like that. Yeah, I remember when he was hitting the news really hard. Remember when Glenn Beck hit the news really hard? I'm telling you, man, that was the story around me, man. I remember that was like, come and hear ye. I got a story. This was front page news, buddy. Glenn Beck, quote, I had surgery on my ass. I didn't even know he could perform surgery, much less while sitting on his ass. He apparently, this is when he believed we should have government medical care or some shit. When his butthole blew up. He had hemorrhoid surgery. And basically, that's where they take a piece of, I don't know if you take a piece of dental floss and you tie it around it till it's real tight, and you give it a good strong tug till it gets all bubbless and puffed up and that kind of stuff, and then you just sit there, leave it tied on for a couple of days, lay on your belly for about a week and a half, pouring gin down your crack, and eventually it falls off. Or you can go to one of these weird old science experimenty fucked up places and let them saw India. I think it's a mistake. If only he had known about hydroxychloroquine at that point. I don't think it's recommended, but fish tank cleaner might be good. And you get one of them fish tank pumps and just run it up your... Never mind. It'll work. You trust me.
Fake news.
I know.
They're one of the best of all names. They're fake news.
Yeah, it's a great name. It was. I mean, it was amazing you came up with that phrase as early as 1937. I think he didn't look that old. You look like a spring chicken, man. Hold on, let me see. I want to see when he thought it up. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Trump used to, he used to do some performance art a long time ago. I don't know if you know this, but he would make this. He had this John Barron character. He would call up Forbes and say, "I'm a fucking billionaire. Put me on the list." And they'd be like, "No, who is this?" And he'd go, "I'm Trump's lackey." And they'd go, "Oh shit, sorry, of course." And they'd put him on the list and say, "Yeah, hey, make sure you guys say Trump's a real billionaire." Who says? John Barron. Bannister, some shit. Anyways, he also had a character he played who was a BuzzFeed news editor named Craig Silverman. One of his funnier characters. He'd do this thing, "Oh, hey, I'm Craig." Like that. It was super funny. And he said he coined this during a press conference alongside Finnish President Sauli son of a bitch. Forget it. No. I'm finished trying to say that name. Wednesday, Trump took credit for inventing the term president. I don't even use fake anymore. I call the fake news now the corrupt news because fake ain't tough enough. They ain't fake. None of that. That's good too. Isn't real. Anyway, Buzz News media editor Craig Dillon was in fact the person who popularized the term in 2014. Doing a Columbia University Toast Center, which is where I park my truck whenever I'm trying to get a master's degree in Bayesian. Digital Journal, they made it part of his big beat. We moved BuzzFeed in 2015. There you go. BuzzFeed. It's a clever name. It's the opposite of buzzkill. It will feed your buzz and the rest will follow. Hand me gin. All I gotta do is swallow. I don't know. That's my favorite song. I don't remember the rest because I'm usually blacked out by then.
Now I realize it's not strong enough. They're really the corrupt news. They're very corrupt.
That's weird. That's really interesting. I'm glad this is a new interview because it's almost exactly verbatim what you said during a press conference in 2019. I don't even use fake anymore. I call the fake news now corrupt because fake isn't tough enough. I'm the one who came up with it and I'm proud of it, but I think I'm going to switch it up to corrupt news. That's fucking amazing, dude. Maybe he does have the best memory. Not for what he's already said, but for saying shit exactly the same way every time.
As I look at the deep state.
Hey, Glenn, next time save yourself some fucking work, man, and just ask questions to a recording of earlier interviews.
Let's just pretend you're going to run again.
Okay.
Yeah, please try. By the way, you're particularly orange today, Glenn. Are you doing that just to fit in with the big kids? You are darker than you are in the commercial breaks. Did something happen? Were you trying to bake a Twinkie and it blew up? What happened?
And you're president.
Let's pretend.
2 terms.
All right. Oh, wait a minute, man. If we're going to pretend Trump's president again, let me get my pants off. This is going to be a good one. Come on. I love a little role play.
4 years. As I look at it, you have to pretty much clean house at Justice, the FBI, CIA.
Yeah. I mean, basically, you were ineffective at destroying the U.S. government last time. So next time, you basically got to get another bite at the apple.
NSC, NIH, the State Department, Treasury, HHS.
Did this list come straight from Vladimir Putin?
Department of Education, and the
That's right, man. That's what we need. We need a government that is so small you can drown it in a bathtub, or at least Kim Jong-un can.
Energy. Their roots are deep in those.
Deep. Many, many years.
Can you, in 4 years...
Yeah. In 4 years, you know how you were able to run on getting us out of Afghanistan? And you did it, man. You did it. I mean, it's a weird way of doing it by letting somebody else do it. But still, it's done. We're out. But 4 whole years you were in there and you almost did. Yeah, like your healthcare plan. Like you're going to have to do all these things in 2 weeks. You're going to be exhausted.
I know you're good at this. You'd had a show. You're fired. Can
he didn't do any of the firing on that show. The producers did. He's too good a man for that. He's not going to fire people. He gets it done for him. He outsources his firing.
You fire and replace all of those things in 4 years.
With one person. Just let Mike Pence run it. I mean, not him, obviously. Melania. No. Ivanka, Jared can do it. Just let fucking Jared do it. He's a pretty man. He can talk anybody into anything. You let him out of his coffin an extra 2 hours a night, that motherfucker will get shit done.
You pretty much have to look. When I got elected.
Yeah, you're right. You pretty much got to get rid of the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Smithsonian, the Rose Garden, the Secret Service, the Treasury Department, and whoever is printing all this fucking money.
Well, it was only in Washington, D.C., 17 times, they say. I mean, I think it's about that right, but they did say. Of the 17, I never stayed overnight. And many of those...
Really? Never? What? Why would you never? I mean, it's our nation's capital. Hey, not stayed not once? 17 times and you never stayed the night? Why not? That's confusing. Dude, it takes me 2 days to take in Arlington properly. You ever been? It's beautiful. Cried the last time I'm there. That's dead serious. Why the fuck would you leave?
Times we're building a hotel, which is a beautiful hotel.
It's a great hotel.
At the old post office.
Oh, the one, yeah, right. And I think it's smart to get rid of that thing now. It's shrewd.
It's right on Pennsylvania Avenue. So I was never here. I never was into the world of the Washington, D.C. All of a sudden, I'm president. And I rely on people.
Yeah, just like that. It was like a fucking miracle. He became president miraculously out of nowhere. Kind of like how some people got COVID. I don't know if you heard that.
Great people. We had some great people, and we had some bad choices, too.
Who? Sorry, hold on one second. I need to go back to being me for this fucking part. We're back. We've done this interview in the same fucking room. Whoever his staff is, you need to move him to another room. Because no matter what the question is asked, he's giving the same answer over and over and over again. Like it's a compulsive fucking tick. I think it's just muscle memory at this point. If he has any, is there gelatinous memory? I don't know. Is there?
The answer is yes, we have to do that. And it can be absolutely done. But I realized as time went by, I got to know. I went from knowing nobody to knowing just about everybody. I know incredible people. And we did. Look,
yeah. Wait a minute. Didn't he run on knowing all the best people? The DC is full of idiots. Right? Wasn't that the whole premise of his fucking presidency? I'm an outsider. I don't know any of these people. So I know all the best people, though, from outside. And we'll fix this so quickly. I'm going to bring in the smartest people. And then he gets in there and like, I don't know, these assholes I brought with me are just fucking stupid. This never worked out. What a bunch of dummies. But I met a lot of people while I was in D.C. who I think can do the job. What?
Built the military. We did so many different things that nobody, including the vaccines, but we did so many things that nobody thought possible. You know, one, right to try, where the FDA is very slow with drugs.
Oh,
we got
for
to cut
fuck's
in half.
sake.
But still.
We can now experiment on people who are dying. Right.
Somebody's dying, terminally ill, and we have something that's great. We now are able to give it to them because, and it's working miracles. What's happening to people, it's incredible, saving lives. But we did so many things. But now I know what's happening. I know so many people that are so great.
Yeah. And it's so sad that the job was snatched away from you just as you were getting good at it.
Longing to come in with the same attitude that you have of changing it. Now,
changing it? That's not his attitude. His attitude is getting rid of it. He's talking about decimating this Central Intelligence Agency of the United States at a time when China has more spies across the world than we have people in our military. Where Russia only has covert means to exact any damage on the United States.
Years, whether it's Bush and some of the Republicans are, honestly, some of these rhino Republicans are worse than
Mitch McConnell.
They're worse. Mitch McConnell is a disaster. He's a total disaster. He gave up the debt ceiling for nothing. He just gave them the debt ceiling. He is a total disaster, Mitch. But when you take a look, the Republicans, we've had Bush, Clinton, Obama, and at that time, many, many years of people being put into place. They've been there for 30 years, 35 years. Has to be cleaned out. Has to be cleaned out.
What do you mean? Well, then why didn't you fucking do it? I thought he literally ran on that. Oh, God. This is almost over. I hope.
You did more with just your sheer force of you than any president I know of.
Oh, you mean without actually doing any of the actual fucking work? The sheer force of you? What? But by just being a kiss ass. Right.
You can't go in and do another 4 years if you have the same kind of GOP support that you had last time.
Right.
How do we?
That's right. Yeah, they all got to go. Yeah, absolutely. You need to run more extremist Republicans. I don't want to help you guys, but that's what you need. You know, real MTG types all across the country. Not a single middle of the road namby-pamby rhino allowed. Just little Trumps all over the place. Nobody even remotely reasonable. All of them saying stuff like this. Hold on. Stuff like
De-engineering action replays in magnified fortune. Legal. Look.
Yeah. You know, people who can really speak like regular Joes.
The GOP. What should the GOP and the people who vote that way, should we be demanding right now?
And I had great GOP support. Let me tell you, we have some great people. As you know, Jim Jordan and so many, Jim Banks. We have a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Great.
Jim Jordan, Jim Banks. Okay.
People. Remember
Two gyms.
this.
I like the gyms. He's never been in a gym in his life, but he loves gyms. He loves Republican gyms.
The impeachment hoax, number one. In Congress, I got 196 votes to nothing. Nobody's ever heard of that, especially with the Republican Party. And with the Senate, other than Romney, who I lost a half a vote, I got 100% of the vote. We have some great support. We have great people. But we have to let them go to town. We have to let them go to town.
What does that mean?
I don't think we have any...
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he means either, Glenn. We have to let them go to town. A lot of them aren't townies, I think.
Let the good ones do what they're doing. And I will say, and I've said it...
You just said they're all good except Romney, who's half good, and they have to be able to go to town?
We have to let the good ones do what they're doing. And I will say, and I've said it a lot, when I came in to this job, I had 2 jobs.
All right. I'm fighting impeachment and being president of the United States. Tough shit. Sorry. Yeah, Ronald Reagan had to deal with the Cold War and domestic issues. Who gives a rat fuck? Johnson came in and his former boss had just had his brains blown out. What are you talking about? Boo fuckity who. Also, he's lost in this and I still don't know what go to town.
Run the country and survive. Because I was investigating.
You gotta survive. Why is that survival? If you're being investigated, who cares? You got nothing to worry about.
Viciously from the day I came down the escalator with a very popular future first lady. But I came down the escalator in Trump Tower and I was under investigation from that day. And I had to run the country and I had to survive. And despite the fact that I had to survive and did survive, we did more than any president, virtually any president, when you look at all of the...
No, you did not. Please say VA choice. Since he's playing the hits, you think he's going to go back to the VA Choice Act that Obama signed, that was written by a rhino Republican congressperson from Kentucky?
Things we could go through them so lengthy, including the rebuilding. And can you imagine? We rebuild our military, and then they give $85 billion worth of that equipment to the Taliban. And they take the generals move.
Well, it was Christmas. Sorry, the generals do what now? Oh, and you think he'll get into our soldiers are lazy and
our military out before they take our citizens out?
I've always trusted our military. My son wanted to go into the military.
It's been hurt very badly.
I don't know if I can tell my son to go in the military. I trust the military.
Dude, you can't. Is this the same son? Leave him out of this.
Not trust the command now.
I call them the television generals. But remember this, I took over 100% of the caliphate. If you look at it,
Oh, you did? I didn't realize. I thought you got rid of it. I mean, the last 12%. He wanted to leave when we were 70% through, and the military said, "No, we gotta finish this up." And he's like, "Oh, really?"
The caliphate. I'm
the caliphate king. I watched.
And I took down al-Baghdadi. You know who al-Baghdadi was? And that was from day one. I said, the military is great. We have great generals, but not these television guys like Milley. We have great generals.
Yeah, but Milley didn't make the decision on the ground. Oh, never mind.
And I know a lot of them. And by the way, they were so supportive of me. Do you ever see the list of the generals and admirals in support of President?
Yeah, you've talked about that list a lot. Many of them aren't actually still in the military, and Mike Flynn is one of them, whatever the fuck that counts for. Name one. You name the general you can't stand. Why the fuck can't you name the ones that do support you? He never can.
But we took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Think of that, in Syria, in Iraq, and got al-Baghdadi and Soleimani and so many others. And
yeah, what did you think? We're not going to continue that fight? I don't get which part of that is special. We've been involved in the war on terror since 2001.
The military is great, but the guys on television are terrible. Secretary of Defense, you take a look at what's happening over there. They made so many bad decisions. Think of this, and don't believe that China, Russia, Kim Jong-un, Iran wasn't watching. When we surrendered in Afghanistan, it was like we surrendered to take the military out first and to leave.
First of all, he arranged the exit. He made the deal with the Taliban, released 5,000 soldiers, got Baradar out of fucking Pakistani prison to negotiate it for him, excluded the Afghan military and the Afghan government from the talks, and set the date with the Taliban for us to leave. He's the one. He actually said that. He actually did that. What? How in the world?
And hostages. It's probably thousands of them. And
there are not thousands of hostages in, not even close. What are you talking about? Who? Name one. The somebody family. This dude. We've been gotten messages on the thing. The people are anything, any fucking thing, anybody. Thousands. This is like Rudy Giuliani's dead people count.
Take hundreds of thousands of people out of Afghanistan. We had no idea who they were. There are many terrorists.
Yeah, we got everybody but the hostages out. It was so weird.
That group. Only 3% of them, it now turns out, were qualified to leave. But to do that.
What? What do you mean qualified to leave? 3% were qualified to leave? But based on what standard? Did you check their teeth like you did the 15-year-old pageant contestants?
And to lose soldiers, we lost 13, but we were badly wounded, meaning no arms, no legs.
Yeah, we know what badly wounded means. None of those people would have been harmed or needed to be harmed if you'd actually done the work that they were covering for on our exit date, because we had to punt the date because you hadn't made any of the SIV people able to exit. So to handle that, there was a crush at the airport specifically because you and your administration would not do any of the work and hamstrung it. So we were having to do a rush job. The U.S. military and the current administration was having to do a rush job because you spent 2 years slowing the process.
28 soldiers and 250 people overall were killed. This should have never happened. We had an understanding.
Well, you weren't going to leave ever.
I had with Abdul. He was the head, and he still is the head of the Taliban. In 18...
No, by the way, no, he isn't. He's like number 3 or some shit.
Months, not one American soldier was killed. And I wanted to get out more than anybody. You know that. I got it down to...
Well, no. Biden wanted to get out more than you did. I mean, there's no question in this. Because he said so during the Obama administration, and as soon as he became president, he said, fuck it, we're getting out. You're telling me the same bullshit story you told Obama and you told Trump, and I don't buy it. We're leaving. And he was right. And a 20-year war is not going to have an easy extraction. That's why he chickened out.
2,500 soldiers. We were going to take everything out. All the equipment was starting, and I said...
Yeah, we were going to have American soldiers walking around picking up nails and screws while the Taliban takes over the fucking country.
I don't want to leave a nail, a screw, a bolt, a tank, a plane.
What do you mean, I know? That it's idiotic. What are we, scavengers? We need screws?
Thing comes out. Even the tents that we used as the hangars, they said, sir, it's cheaper to leave it. I said, we're taking everything. And we were going to...
And we left those for the military, for the Afghan military, which if you hadn't cut them out of the talks might have survived, at least for a little while.
Bagram, very important, because Bagram bombed the other 5 places. And I said, bomb them from air, use it as practice. But we keep...
Really? Oh, yeah, you're not going to bomb them from the ground? We were... Bomb them from the air. What? Before or after our soldiers who are picking up all the screws? We're getting out all the screws and stuff. So we've taken out the Quonset huts. We've taken out the hangars. We've taken out all the equipment, all the screws. And then there's nothing left there, but we're just going to bomb the asphalt.
Bagram, because it's right next to China, 1 hour away from where they make nuclear weapons. And to watch...
They don't make nuclear weapons in Xinjiang, dum-dum.
People give up everything, and now China is occupying Bagram.
I will tell you, Mr.
No, they are not. No, they are not. This is, I mean, the fact both of them are going to start in on this bullshit. October 14th, 2021. Uyghur Muslims are teaming up with ISIS-K, which is pushing back against the Taliban, which is leaking arms into China through Afghanistan. They're trying to partner with the Taliban, but the 12 factions won't have it. China's top national security decision makers are stunned by a devastating suicide bombing attack in Afghanistan last week, reportedly carried out by a Uyghur Muslim. Sources say, provoking Beijing to either disrupt its march towards greater investments in the Taliban government or to commit further to the quagmire that has stymied other superpowers for decades. Have fun, assholes. We were taking the hits that China is now going to be taking. The same thing with what's spread into Kazakhstan. If they want to move into Bagram, knock yourself the fuck out. Good luck. Have fun. I'm sure you'll have way more luck. By the way, how's the BRI project with the Taliban going through Afghanistan going? How's that going? Huh?
And I've never said this to anybody. Nobody knows this.
Oh, dear God. I'm not even sure I want to hear this.
Went in and we rescued a lot of people in Afghanistan.
That's right.
The State Department was so horrible, but one of the planes that they said they have to fill, we had to fly out before we could get any of our other people out. Some of our own soldiers. My first plane we flew out after the collapse of the airport was filled with our own soldiers. And I have to tell you, we made the deal because that was the only deal that would get the other people out. But when the United States of America...
You were blocking the fucking runway. I tell you what, you fly your fucking plane out of here with the people we're trying to remove right now, you get in line like everybody fucking else, and you don't get to take over part of the civilian side of the airport when other people are trying to evacuate. You dumb fuck.
Leaves some of our own special forces back and needs a private charity to fly them out. It's reprehensible.
They didn't need you. They did not need you. You were in the way. Move your fucking plane. Get these people up. Get them out of here. Then you can come back for the people that you're paid to get. We didn't need them. This is fucking gross.
Reprehensible.
Not even believable. By the way,
yes, right. That's true. Not even believable. Complete horseshit, nonsense, bullshit, lying, making it up as he goes along. We didn't need them. That plane was in the fucking way. You get these people on that plane and fly it out. Maybe we'll let you get in line to get the other fucking people that you're getting in. And these guys were flying out people. They were only flying out Christians. That was what they were doing. His group, and he wasn't there. He wasn't on the fucking plane. It's like the Nazarene group or whatever the fuck they're called.
Even
nonsense.
And I'm going to tell you, there's a fly on you.
Yes. Oh, God. What? Wait, what?
Believable. By the way, not even believable. And I'm going to tell you, there's a fly on your hair.
Oh, thank you.
And you know what? The last time there was a fly on somebody's hair, it didn't work out so well.
I know.
I just saw a fly. Did you see that? You'll see it.
Yeah, no one saw it. You're out of your mind. We didn't see it. He freaked out. But it's a good way to shit on Pence out of nowhere.
I said, you know what? Get that fly off your hair.
Thank you.
We were in the middle of a story where this fucker was saying that we were going to leave our own military behind. That our military, that our soldiers, that our pilots, that our generals were going to leave a group of special forces guys, but I just fuck it. Just fuck it. Leave them behind.
Before we leave,
By the way, you're watching the Hal Sparks Megaworldwide live stream. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday. I also do a morning show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. In the afternoons, I'm on at 3 o'clock, except on Thursday, which is 4 o'clock. And then on Saturdays, I do my radio show, which I've been doing for over a decade and a half now on WCPT radio in Chicago. And you can tune in to the live stream here, or you can listen locally AM 820 there while you're out driving around listening to radio as you do.
On a tight schedule. I think.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on. And also, like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, and also super chat and support the show in any way you can. Follow if you're on Twitch, subscribe. There you go. Say that again.
Before we leave, I know you're on a tight schedule.
No, he's not. No, he is. He's not. He's sitting in this room. He's been doing interviews in this room nonstop. That's all there is. There's nothing else. Where the fuck do you think he has to be? It's nighttime outside. He's not going anywhere.
I think Melania was one of the best first ladies, Jackie O quality.
Right.
She restored the White House garden. She didn't change it. She
restored it? She turned it into a putting green, you fuck.
Restored it to Jackie O and got slaughtered for it.
So beautiful, the job. So beautiful.
The book that you guys are putting out.
Oh, man, I knew it. This is the only reason he would agree to do the interview. Like all the others, he's selling the book. A billionaire who has to sell a picture book while his own plane rots on a runway someplace.
The coffee table book. I hope it has focused somewhat on her work that she did. Yes. And B,
it's a picture book. Open it up. It doesn't. It's all about him.
Did you do a coffee table picture book because there's another 4 years that you're going to have to write to put it into a real biography?
Yeah, a real book? Oh my fucking God. Did you not want to write a real book because you're going to come back? Is that why you did it? Or are you just a lazy bastard? You actually think this asshole's got a written book in him?
Of your presidential years?
So we did a book which has been selling like hotcakes. 150.
Selling like hotcakes. Here's the first picture, and it's saying goodbye to the Obamas, and it ends with the beginning of me leaving alone with Biden not saying bye to me because he didn't go to the inauguration, none of that shit. Here's the jovial leaving, and then can't even be mustered to do it. Yep.
1,000 in the first 2 weeks, and normally a book like
this, what?
Hotcakes. 150,000 in the first 2 weeks, and normally a book like that won't sell to the same extent, because they're waiting for the other book.
Yeah, but normally picture books like this don't have the Heritage Foundation and the RNC buying dozens and dozens of copies to keep the numbers up and to artificially feed you money to pay legal bills and shit.
Talk about a lot of stories.
Yeah.
But I write about certain photos. I did it really for a different reason.
Yeah, these are great photos. High quality. You're not going to see these kind of pictures. Fuck Obama's dude on Instagram who's putting out all these pieces that look like artwork. No. Derp! It's me in front of the fence. I'm in front of the fence with my thumbs up. Both of these have been in my butt. Look at the drawings. It's almost done. Wait till they paint it. Oh my God. Darp, darp, darp.
It's so sad, our country right now. I don't think we've ever been lower. And despite all of the...
I know you really wanted this picture up because you thought this was, Dewey Beats Truman moment. But you didn't think to have somebody put the makeup to your ears? That you didn't Photoshop, fucko. What's happening here? You look like my old white trash girlfriend who used to work at an amusement park. She had that hard line around her jaw, like her makeup was just like whack, but she had no makeup on her neck or back to her ears at all. But I don't know how she got the line that tight. Sorry, Johnny. I got to do it, man. right? Look at this. Look over here on the side of the head. Nobody fixed that? It's your book. It's your book. This is just, there's like, how can we make money off our Instagram feed?
And the phony Russia impeachments. It was a beautiful time.
Yes, remember that time Mount Rushmore ejaculated war? You couldn't get a shot where the middle plane was lined up with the middle of the thing. It's a pretty shot, but it looks like something you buy there. Oh yes, the kabuki
economy in
match,
history.
Yes.
We then
It still turns me on. I got to say, there's still, you know what I mean. It's your early memories. You know what I mean. It's what happens when you grow up in the South. There's just something about a girl putting her hand in your back pocket. Just makes your day. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'm from Kentucky. I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
China virus come in, and then I rebuilt the economy. I really rebuilt it twice. The second time
Did
harder
you?
than the first. But we had the greatest
It didn't, but okay.
economy, the greatest everything. It was a glamour pit. It was a beautiful period. And now I see what's
It was a glamour pit. I think he meant it's a glamour period. America was a glamour pit. That's his description. The Trump years, glamour pit.
economy, the greatest everything. It was a glamour pit. It was a beautiful period. And now I see
So I think that was period without all the other letters in it. Glamour pit.
what's happening with energy, with inflation, with the military.
Yeah, we already talked about that shit, Grandpa. We've already covered that part. You've covered these things. We're wrapping it up now. This is the same thing that happened with Candace Owens. You're starting back at the beginning. He's on a loop, guys. It's like when you go to a museum and they're playing a movie and you're like, oh shit, I walked in at the tail end, and then you're like, oh, this is the part we saw.
With these clowns. And I said, you know what? Let's put out a book talking about how beautiful it was, because we're going to make it that way again. And it's people like you that really, you have done such an incredible job.
Oh my God. This is so pathological now. Because every single interview now, we've watched this. Every time he's in this room, that's his signal to his people, I'm fucking done. The minute I compliment them and say, you're doing such a great job, the work you're doing, we're done. Because he doesn't want to tell them, he doesn't want the people to go, they only gave us 15 minutes. So what he does is he tells his staff, get me the fuck out of here. The minute I say the great work that you're doing, get me out. Now, he did it once before, and they went past it, because he does that sometimes. Like, he'll say it, but it wasn't forceful enough. Or a line gets in, he starts talking, and they're like, all right, we'll sit this one back. He'll say it again if he wants to go. And then by the end of it, when he's really got to take a shit, he's like, you're such good, it's people like you doing the great work that you're doing. And your show is so fantastic and very respected and highly rated and all that. And then he starts into that. That's when the staff, that's what happened to Mike Lindell. Remember when Mike Lindell was on? You could, a second later, Mike Lindell did not get the cue. And they're like, yeah, we got to wrap this shit up. We'll see if they kick in.
You give people hope. It's so important because there are not.
Wait a minute. Glenn Beck gives people hope? Hold on. Oh, God damn it. Every time I think that I'm loose, they drag me back in. God damn it. He gives people hope, does he? Is that what he does? Hold on one second. Stop. No, we don't. Hold on. Oh, shit. No surprise your MSC makes host claim. Oh, look at it. I called out that stupid painting on his wall. He's like, not Nazi propaganda. That's hilarious. Where is that the Joe Louis thing? Like, okay. Criminally out of context. The left shape, terrifying COVID, 2022 predictions. Power is about to flip. Is China worth our souls? How to combat their lies. Ghosts at the studio? This is the hope part. We've survived worse. This is who we are. Remember what's sacred. These are all like, these are new titles since I called them out. Remember I called them out a while ago? Like, just like fucking Russell Brand being like a doom profiteer? Because if you roll back past here, we're in for real trouble. No, the economy isn't booming. Caused by climate change. Goodbye transitory inflation. Suing Pelosi. How to strangle Russia. Okay, another step for the Great Reset. Asset forfeiture insanity. Let's see. Will Joe embarrass us? Okay. Biden, stop trying to help. Is World War III coming? You know, that kind of hope. You give people hope. To carry on.
A lot of people that understand that word hope, but you give people hope, and you have for a long time, and I really commend you on it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope we get a chance to talk again, and I sincerely hope that you are running again.
Oh, thank you very much.
In 4 years. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On Sunday.
That's, first of all, that's a no. He's not. He is not. And this cuts straight to where he caught some shit.
The New York Times editorial board ran a story declaring, quote, January 6th is not in the past, it's every day.
Right. This is, we're dealing with this reality. It's not important. Yeah. So anyways, all right, I went way over to, God damn it, it's 6:30. I'm going to have to do, I think I have to do an extra episode tomorrow. Is that okay with everybody? Because this went way long. And you guys were just soldiers getting through it. Shit. Maybe I'll throw in a bonus show tomorrow on Saturday. Yeah, and I'll because I have 3 things I want to talk about, and I didn't get to any of them. It was Gates and Jim Jordan on Fox talking about Jan 6, and then a surprise, another visit from an anti-America, pro-Trump lefty in the guise of being progressive that we have to kind of call out. There's some of these assholes are pathological, but they've turned it into an industry. I guess you gotta make hay while the sun shines, right? So I will pop on. I'm gonna do an extra show tomorrow if that's cool with you guys. And because that was a long interview. Fuck. And some of it's so repetitive it seems long, but the time blazed by. Fucking, I've been on for 3.5 hours. So much love to you guys. Thank you for sticking with me. I adore you. And I will see you tomorrow for the radio show, 9 a.m. Pacific time, the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, the original namesake of the regular stream. And then, of course, I'll do a special Mega Worldwide in the afternoon as well. So Stuttering John, if you're watching, no, I can't come on your show tomorrow. I'm going to stack up some more stuff. Much love. I got to go feed the family. It's like 6:30. So take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate you. Take a look at the credits when they roll by, because those folks are what made today's show possible. Bean Toast, thank you. Carol Cobb, the new follows. Steph, thank you for hosting the show. Thank you guys for all the bits on Twitch as well. It's immensely helpful. Lizzie, I'm glad you liked Ficus. Ficus is our redneck friend. And Jovan, thank you so much. And Lulu Girl and Sweet Indigo, thank you so much. And Karen, look at Talk Soup is in there. Became a member. Thanks, Talk Soup. Raphael and Lisa and Jill Carter, thank you so much as well. Carl, DW, Michelle, Jovan, you guys are amazing. Betsy, thank you as much. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the radio show. If I missed anybody, I adore you and you know this. And I will see you guys in the morning. All right, take care. See ya. Night.